Again, James Turner of Loading Ready Run, going to be the premier, the featured drafter of this one. And I think he's going to have quite a crowd in chat rooting for him.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think we're going to be sending down there shortly to see what he is picking.
I have to imagine that. Yeah, I think they're just starting to jump into him. So I think we're going to be heading into the field in just a moment. And there it is. Look at that.
There
nice
it is.
Little hand camera.
And there's a rock charger.
Rock Charger is nice. I like that card. So it's the new Pegasus Courser, and that it got reworded a little bit for kind of online, but it is still going to be that 1/3. It's got flying. It's 3 mana.
Yeah.
And it starts jumping all your other creatures together.
Absolutely, and a great target for Mentor as well, which is something that Boros is looking to do. So great way to start off a draft, and it doesn't commit him to a color pair yet. He can play it in Selesnya. You know, you can jump a really large creature and get through that way, but in Boros, I think it's really strong. Boros is looking for a lot of good 3-drops.
Yeah, and that low power at the front end, having just that really nice with that Mentor ability, like you were saying. So taking a look, we've got a couple. Looks like there's a Lockdown Restorer in here, as well as an Ornery Goblin.
It's funny, going back to James's comment earlier, there is a disinformation campaign in this pack,
And
which
he's
is
not even
one of the strongest. He's not even looking at it, and it's one of the strongest uncommons in the set. But no, he's going for the Ornery Goblin. He is staying the course.
We joked earlier that he would open a pack with Doom Whisperer and take the Mentor.
Yeah.
Or the Bodyguard, and he just opened a disinformation campaign.
He is living his dream. He is committed. I appreciate that.
Oh, man.
I can respect that.
You know, whoever's sitting to the left of him is probably going to respect it, too.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good place to be.
Oh, well, there's that Healer's Hawk we were talking about.
It's coming together. You got to have those 1-drops. 1-drops in this set. Oh, Direct Current as well. Is this a format that, have you been finding yourself taking 1-drops a lot more than in previous sets?
Absolutely, yeah. There are good 1-drops in a lot of colors. In a Mentor deck, you definitely want your Healer's Hawks. Hunted Witness also does a pretty good Healer's Hawk impression in a pinch. But even in some of the slower strategies, Dimir has Thoughtbound Phantasm, which is a really strong 1-drop. Pilfering Imp is a really strong 1-drop that Dimir or Golgari can use. So yeah, 1-drops are really having a renaissance in this set.
All right, and it looks like, as you can see right there on the right side of the screen, you'll be able to see his picks. Healer's Hawk was the 3rd one.
It was the 4th one, yeah.
It got a little bit...
oh, I see.
Yeah, the Rock Charger actually was the first pick. They just got to send a little bit. I'm sure that'll get corrected in just a moment.
Yeah, so he's looking at a Smeltward Minotaur here. A card that is really good in Izzet decks that are looking to kind of force through damage, but it can do some work in Boros as well if he has a lot of instants and sorceries to trigger it.
And, you know, that deck has been running a lot of combat tricks, you know, maybe in that 2 to 3 realm, but otherwise it's a reasonable creature, and then whenever you cast one of those, it's a target creature they control can't block this turn.
Absolutely.
A quick little falter to move things forward, and it looks like we might be looking at another guild gate here, and that is the Boros Guild Gate. I'm really curious about this one because I like having a couple guild gates, but you, when we were talking about this format, you said Boros don't want any of them.
Boros wants its lands to come into play untapped, but unfortunately there wasn't really much else for James in that pack, so taking a guild gate there is pretty defensible.
All right, and again, to anybody who is just joining us, this is James Turner of Loading Ready Run. He is cruising in here, and I don't think we took it that seriously when he said, I'm going to ignore Dimir and take Boros. Passed a disinformation campaign for an Ornery Goblin, and now he's off to the races. He is really trying to solidify himself.
Yeah, but, I mean, if other people in his pod are also looking to be Dimir, they will then start fighting over those Dimir cards, and his plan is probably to just run them over.
Looks like it's a Rubble Belt Boar is going to be the next pick. It's I think a 3/3 for 4.
It is a 3/3 for 4.
+2/+0 when it enters the battlefield to any of your creatures.
Right. It's especially good if you have a creature with Mentor on the field, because then you can make that creature even bigger, and it can mentor even bigger things. So great pick up there.
One thing about this one, I'm not certain how many Boros decks you've drafted, but have you been finding yourself really frequently using your combat tricks before you're in combat?
Occasionally. Because
that Mentor ability alongside it, there's a lot of these sort of sorcery speed ones as well.
Yeah.
You know, the one that jumps a creature, the one that gives it haste and maximize velocity. Those are even sorceries as that kind of combat trick.
I have played maximize velocity in Boros in a pinch. And sometimes, you know, there are a lot of Death Touch creatures in this format that can kind of wreck Boros' day every now and then.
Did I see a risk factor in that pack?
Oh, I think he's looking at Sure Strike or Righteous Blow.
Okay, it is going to be Righteous Blow. I don't think that was a risk factor. But
that's okay.
Between the two of those, so Righteous Blow, sort of that white shock so to speak, in combat. How do you feel about that one? Because oftentimes these burn spells that hit a blocking creature aren't as good in the aggressive decks, because as they attack in, it requires that not only did you get blocked and reduce some damage, but also you have to hit the blocking creature exclusively.
Yeah.
Do you like those in this Boros deck?
I actually don't mind them in this format because there are so many death touch creatures in this format, and sometimes you need to get those creatures out of the way if your plan is to build up your army. Boros doesn't just want to go wide, sometimes it wants to go tall too. He's taking a Lockdown Restorer here. Not always the best fit in the Boros deck, but it might be a fine sideboard card.
It's got Convoke. It gives...
Oh, there's Risha Maria smiling at us from the ad card.
I love that picture. Wow.
I love it too. It's so heartwarming.
It's a good one. I actually have one saved right now in the bag that I'm going to be taking to the next GP that I go to, so that I can make sure to have them both to give that one a signature.
Yep.
Ooh, and we're going to be crushing some contraband there. I like that card. 4 mana instant, exile. You choose one or both. Exile an artifact, exile an enchantment, and now he's got another Lockdown Restore. Gaining a lot of life for a Boros deck.
Yeah, his curve is getting pretty high. You don't want to... Oh, there's another Loxodon. So Selesnya might be more open, and he did pick up a Selesnya Guildgate kind of midway through the draft. So if he wants to pivot, he's not actually that committed to red. He has a lot of strong white cards. He has the Healer's Hawk, he has the Rock Charger, he has the Loxodon. I think if red doesn't seem open in this next pack, like if he's fighting another Boros drafter or an Izzet drafter or two for those red cards, he could pivot into Selesnya.
That could be... I mean, he's got more white cards than anything. Yeah, I like it. I don't think he will, though. I have a very strong thinking that... See, yeah, he's into it already. I don't think he's going to be moving out of it. I think he came away with this one with a giant pile of red cards, of white cards, and he's probably already checked the one box that he had, which is take the red cards and the white cards.
Right, yeah. He is already accomplishing his goals for this weekend.
It's good to have goals, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I like this. I have to think that this is James really taking it upon himself to show the type of mentorship that can happen at an event like this. I like that one. I'm gonna just run that one.
Oh yeah. I mean, anytime a mentor creature hits the field, it'll be a great reminder of why we're here.
Well, I just have to start calling all of these cards. Oh, and it looks like James is just playing Big Brothers Big Sisters of Puget Sound. That's his deck name. That's it, you know?
Yeah.
We'll have to see that one make it all the way to the finish. All right, heading into the second pack here. Are you feeling great about what he's drafted so far, or are you feeling like that is a pile of red cards and white cards?
Yeah, I don't feel great about it. He didn't get any of the premium Boros gold cards that would really push him into... Oh my goodness.
Yes!
Whoa.
Yes! Please don't take it. Please take the...
I mean,
take the bodyguard
it's
instead.
Tough. I mean, given what he's taken so far, I don't think he can.
I gave him this exact scenario, and now he has the option of choosing...
Right.
Please do.
They are going to be playing within pod, so that's a consideration. This card is very hard to beat, especially given what he has. But there is also a Skynet Legionnaire. Oh, but he's taking it.
Okay.
He's taking it.
Okay.
He is. He's hedging. I think that's a smart play.
It's the smart play, but is it the right play? That's what I have to wonder, because I'm so excited.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely could stand to pivot here. Like I was saying, he got some serviceable cards in that first pack, but nothing too exciting beyond the Rock Charger and the Healer's Hawk. So if he wants to pivot, I think that's totally in bounds for him.
Having access to a bounty agent isn't bad. He's also got direct current in there. Those are both fine cards. He's got another Ornery Goblin, which he probably won't be thrilled with.
Right.
Oh man, direct current.
Direct current is very, very good, even in a Boros deck. I mean, if you're late in the game enough and you have more lands than you need, you could just pitch a land, deal 2 more damage. That's a great way to close out a game.
And like you said, there's just such a large amount of death touch in this format that having access to anything that can really turn any of your other spells into that removal as well. We see him take the bounty agent there, 2/2 with vigilance for 2, lower down on his curve.
So many bears with upside in this format.
I know. 2 3s and 2 2s as far as the eye can see.
But there's a Parhelion Patrol in this pack and a Cosmotronic Wave. This is a great card for Boros, especially if it's looking to just close out the game when you're starting to get stalled out.
Yeah, do you think this might be sort of an indicating moment where, okay, he's got quite a few options here, but I'll be curious because if he ends up taking either this this red card or that white card, that could be sort of a sign of how far he intends to go with this Doom Whisperer.
Right.
Because if he takes the red card, I think probably the Doom Whisperer is better suited to go into the white cards alongside it.
Mm-hmm.
But Cosmotronic Wave, I mean,
that's
on
a Boros
names
card.
alone,
Absolutely.
names alone, that's a high value pick.
Yeah.
How often do you get to say Cosmotronic in it in your daily life?
I mean, I drafted the set a lot, so pretty frequently.
Frequently?
But
that's a quality of life upgrade.
yeah.
Cosmotronic.
Absolutely. You learn so many great vocabulary words just by playing Magic.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Leapfrog. I think that's a contender for maybe one of my favorite cards in the set.
I like Leapfrog a lot.
And just holistic
So
card
there's a
greatness.
Swamp Cutter Giant for him. I like the Barging Sergeant a little bit more.
Ooh.
Okay.
I'm a fan.
Integrity Intervention, that's a card that would go great in his deck. And that's, we were talking about good gold cards.
Mhm.
This is a signal that Boros is at least open to his left.
Yes, and I think that had to, I mean, when you're passing a disinformation campaign to your left, like early on, I think inadvertently James really set himself up for pack 2.
Right.
Like, if I pass all the good cards and take
Yeah.
the Boros ones, then in pack 2 I'm really going to get anything that I want.
Right, but it seems like this was his plan all along. He knows Dimir is popular. He wants everyone to fight over the good Dimir cards, and he's just going to take Boros, go low to the ground, and just smash on through.
And we do have another one of these Barging Sergeants in there. Do you
Yeah.
like that card? Because
like
it's
it.
got it's the 4/2, it's got haste, but low toughness for an aggressive deck.
Oh, but it looks like he's taking Citywide Bust instead. That's very interesting. Barging Sergeant, a little bit of a liability if you are looking to go in this really low-to-the-ground deck and play something like a Citywide Bust. But I actually like it. I think 2 toughness creatures are in a weird spot in this format because of deadweight at common, but the Barging Sergeant having haste actually makes it a bit stronger, especially if you have a Hammer Dropper, the 5/2, on turn 4, and then a Barging Sergeant. Then you get to attack with it. If you attack with the Hammer Dropper as well, the Barging Sergeant then becomes a 5/3, and so then it can just keep mentoring more things. So I actually like it quite a bit. I don't like playing many 5-drops or any 6-drops in this Boro deck. You want to stay really low to the ground, but yeah, I think it's a strong pick.
So we've got James Turner here, and I think we just saw him take Heart, the single mana. It's an instant target creature gets basic +2/+2, and then you gain a life for each attacking creature that you control.
Correct.
And I think that's actually going to be just something to where it kind of starts to check the boxes where you need to have a certain number of combat tricks in this Boros deck because you're going to be so often just running it into Hazda Marshal here, the take.
Great 1-drop.
Battalion callback too.
Absolutely,
The 1-mana 1/1. I like to think of Hazda Marshal. I remember it because Marshal is so tall, and the Marshal there is like taller than the 2 surrounding them. So that's immediately that card is Marshal for me.
That's amazing. I'm sure Marshall would love that. Ooh, Intrusive Pack Beast. This is a great card.
And Candlelight Vigil. I like this Intrusive Pack Beast.
I like it too.
A bit.
It serves a very similar purpose to Cosmotronic Wave in that late in the game, when things are starting to stall out, you need to get those last maybe 7-8 points of damage through. It just comes down and says, nope, these 2 things are not blocking. Swing.
It's Took Heart now. With or without a plan. It's not Take Heart now, it's Took Heart.
It has been taken. All right, so James looking at some Sworn Companions there. Those are great mentor targets.
Ooh. It's a nice card. And so you talked a little bit earlier about how much Death Touch is in this format. How about how much Lifelink is in this format?
There's a decent amount.
I'm a red mage, you know. I don't know how to mess around with that, and just the amount of people who are gaining life on me consistently is upsetting. It is. There's 1/1 soldiers as far as the eye can see. It is Ornery Goblin, though, which is a bit of an awkward card, but really good against X1s.
Absolutely. It's good against those Death Touch creatures. It's good against those 1/1s with Lifelink. Absolutely. And it sounds like the Boros' opinion on Lifelink is if you can't beat him, join him.
I know. It's weak. And we're going to do a riot.
Yeah.
Let's start a riot.
Buff those attacking creatures.
It's got Dami Raid flavor text, which I'm really excited about because Dami Raid is just, I want to say delightful, but he's kind of villainous, isn't he?
A little bit.
He's a bit.
Oh, there's another Barging Sergeant. That's a fine pickup for him. So yeah, it seems like Boros is definitely open to his left.
Is it canon that card is just called Bargent now? Or
I've been calling it Bargent.
Okay, good. I really wanted to double check because Bargent, also the I keep thinking about this one because that card, it's the Bartisan Bats.
Yeah.
I learned what a Bartisan is the other day.
What
it's
is
part
it?
of, in the architecture of it, it's the towers that kind of extend from the wall, is apparently a Bargent. When I was looking at this set, someone tossed out some architectural knowledge for me. It was very kind of them.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Early on, I was calling it the Bipartisan Bats. And I was like, the guilds are coming together. That's kind of nice. Like, you can have both Golgari and Dimir sharing the bats because they just kind of float around from the caves to the I guess, where would the Dimir be? Part of it?
The sewers.
The sewers.
I think they're in the sewers.
All right. Not the best real estate, but it's cheap.
Yeah.
You know?
They do what they have to do.
So, James Turner here with Boros cards plus one heck of a splash. I really hope he goes for it.
Yeah, absolutely. He has 2 Selesnya Guild Gates now, so if he wants to splash for a really good rare out of pack 3, that's available to him.
Splash for the Whisper. That's my move. That is my move. Oh, do we have Frank here?
What's up?
How's it going?
Hello.
Oh, everything's
great.
Right,
This is
say hi to
Frank. He is
chat.
our
This is
tournament
Frank,
organizer.
everybody. He helped put this all together.
Yeah.
This amazing event where we're all giving to an amazing cause.
Yeah, Frank is not only the L2 judge here at Mox Boarding House, but he's also part of the Engage committee. And it's really awesome that Card Kingdom employees get to be involved in this way and kind of give back to the community through the work that they do.
Gotcha. I'm excited. This is actually, this is really kind of my first time working with the Engage group of Card Kingdom. I'm hugely excited to be a part of this one. I've been looking forward to this one since I first heard about it. I was excited. We were sitting here, we were like dancing ahead of time because of just this has been something that we've been really looking forward to. Just a chance to come together as a community to do something for such a enormously powerful cause.
Absolutely.
I'm excited. So it's pack 3 here.
Pack 3.
James Turner of Loading Ready, and in this pack he is going to try to run. Has that been done before for their pack 1 through 3? It probably has been. It probably has been. All right. So,
Glossy Duplicate.
Do you see a Guild Mage?
I see a Guild Mage. That is one of the better Guild Mages.
Yes, it is. So that one you can actually just start doming your opponent for 3 damage each turn.
Yep.
The flavor text, by the way, on that messenger.
Yeah.
Love it. It's that they were handed a letter and told to deliver or they were told to light a torch and deliver a letter, but they got the instructions reversed. Yeah.
Silly goblins.
Ooh, so that, and then also that Guild Mage is able to tap down a creature. I know early on, some were talking about how you don't even really love that ability. It's all about the 3 damage at the end, and then it's a 2/2 for 2 at the beginning. Have you been able to play with that card much?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Do you use the tap ability much as sort of that
I have.
at their end step, tap down a creature, untap, tap another one?
Yeah. Yeah,
Build
I
your own
mean,
intrusive pack
it's
beast.
definitely part of that Boros strategy that we were talking about forcing through damage at every opportunity. And sometimes your opponent, especially if they are in maybe Dimir or Golgari. Ooh, what did he see there? Skynight Legionnaire?
Ah, such a fan.
That's awesome. But yeah, sometimes you just need to get those creatures out of the way, especially if you're trying to be in a racing situation. Dimir and Golgari can put up some really strong blockers. So he's definitely eyeing the Skynight Legionnaire here, and I think that's the pick.
I don't know how you could not take that card.
Yeah.
That card is so good. It's got flying.
So good. I mean, that's why it's been printed in every Ravnica set that Boros is in.
It's the most Boros card to ever Boros a Boros.
Right?
It's just, it's a 2/2 for 3, which is with flying, with haste. It's everything.
What more could you want?
I have drafted exclusively mono red decks and allowed myself to splash for that card because it's so on theme.
Yep.
I'm a fan. I'm actually a little bit surprised that he didn't take that one earlier that he saw, but it was in comparison to a Doom Whisper. So I get it.
That's true.
I get it. I just wanted him to take the Skylight Legionnaire.
This is a really strong card for him, Hellkite Whelp.
Now that's the 3/3 for 5. It's got flying as well, which is an area that...
But there's another Skynight Legionnaire. Yep.
I'd need it.
And a Divine Visitation. Not what he wants, but...
No, but it's cool.
Very strong card.
It's got strong flavor text.
It does.
Which, if you're power ranking cards on flavor text,
I think he wants the Skynight Legionnaire.
I think he does too.
Yeah, he agrees with us.
I think he's asking the chat, knowing that there's not going to be a whole lot of give and take when it comes to that communication. He can't see the chat.
Yeah.
But I think he was really opening a window for your review.
Right. So there were some really strong 5-drops in that pack, as we discussed, but he's looking to keep his curve low. The Skynight Legionnaires are great. They're great in multiples. And they can be mentored by creatures like Blade Instructor here. So they have a ton of explosive potential in the mid-game.
But Command the Storm is
Command the Storm.
actually, and Recruit is also.
This is a great pack for him. What does he take here?
Why this needed to be a conspiracy draft so you could turn that face down and just take the whole pack.
Right. Well, clearly he's taking the foil Crater Maker.
Of
over
course
the
you take.
non-foil one.
Oh, take the shiny.
Take
That's
the shiny.
that's a
Always take the
classic.
shiny.
I've
Yeah.
been doing that since I was like 6.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
That's where all the power level is. It's like if you put a
It's all in
card,
the foil.
if you just put some flames on it, it goes faster, lowers the
Yep.
cost.
And so there's a True Fire Paladin. This is a pretty strong card. Not the strongest of the 4-drop uncommons, but definitely great in a Boros deck. Does a great Boros Reckoner impression for those of you who remember Boros Reckoner.
I do. I do.
Great
That
card.
card was. Oh, Boros Record. Good times.
Good times.
Good times. What a way to push through damage, too. It makes combat so weird. Like, I'll attack with my 4/3. What are you going to do? Block?
Yeah.
That just doesn't help out that much. Candlelight Vigil. There's that Hammer Dropper, the Ornery Goblin. I'll be curious, with this choice, he's got some options for either like keeping his curve really, really low and aggressive, or by trying to actually raise it up a little bit, that Hammer Dropper. I don't really know the right direction to go, but personally, I like keeping these decks really low to the ground, especially when I've got the Guild Mage as well as the Reckoner Impressionist.
So I actually like the Hammer Dropper here because he is looking to get those Mentor triggers, and Hammer Dropper is the best creature for triggering Mentor. It has the highest power of all of the common Boros cards. So if you do something like Hammer Dropper into Barging Sergeant, that is a really strong play. Plus, James does not have a lot of 4-drops. He only has the Parhelion Patrol so far.
Boros seems so open for him.
Yeah.
And also,
the tides have changed.
That whole pack looked sweet for him.
That whole pack did look really, really good, yeah.
Ooh, man. James his strategy is paying off.
It is, yeah.
I am amazed because that, like, looking at the first pack, ooh,
It was a little rough.
it's a bit of an oof.
Yeah.
a little yikes. And it just came together, like starting off pack 2 with a Doom Whisper, and those whispers brought him all the glory that he was looking for.
Gravitic Punch here. Not the best card in the Boros deck. He doesn't have a ton of really big creatures. This is a card you want if you're, say, an Izzet and you have Crackling Drake, and you can just make it big and you need to get it through. That's a way to get it through. But it's a fine sideboard card, especially if you're up against a really stalled board state.
Still kind of coming together. We've got the 1/1 with haste. You can sacrifice it to give another creature haste.
Yeah.
It's a good message to deliver, I suppose.
Absolutely. Hasty Hammer Dropper coming through.
Ooh, now that's a great point. Just a nice little touch there. Give something else. Like that Hammer Dropper, the fact that it's got to sit back for a turn can be very problematic with Direct Curtain floating around, also with access to... Deadweight is such a premier card.
Well, Candlelight Vigil can get on a creature and make it bigger and protected from something like a Deadweight.
Yeah, 4 mana, +3/+2, and the creature gets Vigilance, Candlelight Vigilance.
Put it on a Healer's Hawk.
That's a sweet turn 4 play.
Divine Visitation came back.
Now,
but I think he wants the Fire Urchin.
And I like this one quite a bit because, I mean, just to go all the way back to pack 1, where you talked about how much you liked Rock Charger because it was a 1/3. This one, in that same realm, it gets mentored really nicely.
Yep.
And then, I mean, we've seen some of the comment.
There's a fresh face Recruit.
James Turner.
Great 2-drop for his deck.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
He is making it happen.
He is. This deck is looking really strong. I'm very unexpectedly surprised by just how far we have come since that kind of dicey first pack.
All right, we've got some 10th District happening here. We've got a 2/2 for 2 with upside.
Yeah.
Bears with upside.
Yeah.
Ravnica, very friendly to bears.
Yeah.
It's a good place to be. Double Vigil.
Double Vigilance.
It's where to be. All right, and that's actually going to line this one up. So these players are coming together on this draft. So coming away from this one, James Turner, loading ready run. For the people who are new, just came away with this Boros deck. You can see a lot of those picks here. How are you feeling? If you're him, put yourself in his shoes a little bit. I'm not certain if you got to see his shoes, but you can imagine them.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about this deck? Are you coming away from this? I mean, you've got some incredible players at this table. You've got some incredible community members. Are you feeling pretty confident heading into round 1?
I think this deck is pretty solid, yeah. It is not the flashiest Boros deck. He didn't get many of the flashy rares or uncommons that maybe he was hoping for, but he got some really strong commons, and sometimes Boros can get by on just having Sky Knight Legionnaires, Intrusive Pack Beast, or Cosmotronic Wave to close out the game. So I think his plan of just going low to the ground, mentoring creatures when he can, getting in damage when he can with something like Healer's Hawk or Healing Patrol could actually go a surprisingly long way. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Kind of talking about that end stuff, they've got a lot of tools that I mean, he's going to have a lot of ways to kind of close out the game at the end.
Doing exactly as I thought I would be doing.
Yeah, so before you started this draft, you said you were going to ignore the Demir cards and pick Boros.
And that's exactly
and
what I did. That's exactly what I did.
Yeah, we saw you pass the disinformation campaign, and we thought, all right, he's committed.
I mean, I didn't pass this guy.
I mean, that's a very strong card. You're playing within pods.
This is splashable, right? You're here to help me build this deck, correct?
I am not here to help you build this deck.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I would love to hear about some of the picks you made throughout the draft.
So my first pick, as I recall, was Risk Factor.
Oh, a calculated risk there.
Yeah, I don't know if that was. I don't even remember the packs at this point. I have never been in a situation which is drafting timed like that, and even in this setting, it's relaxed, it's casual. That is nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
I don't like it one bit. So I had the plan, which was force Boros, and I stuck with it. So first pick was Risk Factor, and then I was just kind of all in. I think I second picked either. I think I took the Rock Charger second. And this is just a good card.
Yeah,
I mean,
makes you fairly open. You can play it in Selesnya too. It's
exactly.
Kind of pivoting that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And from there, it just kind of felt like the Boros cards were coming my way.
Yep.
Picked up a Righteous Blow, picked up a Healer's Hawk in pack 1, picked up the Ornery Goblin, the Smelt Ward Minotaur. I believe the Rubble Belt Boar was pack 1 as well.
Yep.
So like not the best Boros cards, but not the worst.
Yeah.
Managed to grab a Cosmotronic Wave, which I'm a big fan of in Boros.
Oh yeah.
It just 100% ends games, which is great. I feel like I panic-picked Bounty Agent at one point. Again, I'm not 100% sure what else was in the pack. I think there was a Vanilla 2/2, possibly, or maybe it was the
10th Disregard?
10th Disregard or the Vigilant Selesnya 2/2. Because I don't know how often the ability on this one comes up, but it's a 2/2 for 2 that has Vigilance, so it should be just fine, right?
2/2s are great in this format.
Yeah. I picked up a Sworn Companions, a Hazda Marshal, and not much else making tokens, because I know in that last pack, Divine Visitation went around twice.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a goofy pick, but I'm not gonna go that
but
goofy.
It came back to me.
Yeah, it came back to me. Picked up the Citywide Bust, which also felt really good, especially in the Boros stacks. Doesn't kill anything of mine, so that's nice. Got the Integrity Intervention, which is a great Boros card. I got a very late Barging Sergeant, which I'm a big fan of.
The Bargent.
The Bargent, yeah. And then from there, I almost got my playset of Loxodon Restorers in pack 1, I think, which is pretty good. Picked up a Crush Contraband, which sideboard, but even then, not entirely sure. And then third pack went very well, I think.
Yeah, that was a very strong start with that Guild Mage.
Yeah, so first picked the Guild Mage, picked up 2 Sky Knight Legionnaires. The pack with the Goblin Crater Maker had an additional Goblin Crater Maker.
But of course, you took the foil one.
I gotta take the foil one. Why would you not take the foil one? Picked up the True Fire Captain.
Nice.
Like I picked up the Hammer Dropper, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it's gonna get played.
Right.
I got a Locket. The Punch is whatever. Right. I picked up a Candlelight Vigil, which maybe I'll play. And then I was faced with either Fire Urchin or the Divine Visitation, and I knew that that was not the right pick, so I took the 2-drop.
Right.
And then got a very late Fresh-Faced Recruit.
Yeah, that was surprisingly late.
Which was super nice. 10th Disregard, another Vigil, and then I think last pick got the Courier. So
nice.
I think this deck is going to come together. Like I think it's going to be a fairly good Boros deck, but I got to sit down and actually see what it's going to look like.
Sweet. So we will let you go sit down and build your deck.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much
for
taking the time to share your picks with us.
Absolutely. I'm happy that I did exactly what I said I was going to do.
Awesome. Well, we wish you the best of luck in your round. and we will hopefully see you in the feature match area soon.
All right, so it looks like it is just about time to jump on in. It is Kenji Igashir up against Jerry Thompson. We are in our first round with the deck called Pumpy Tappy up against Boros Control with Ral.
Nice.
So Jerry on the right, Kenji on the left, and we got a little bit of a tough time catching what that card is. Those sleeves reflecting nicely, and we've got a 10th District Guard on the right side. It's just going to be a bear at the moment, a nifty 2-2, and it is right back over to Kenji. Right now, you're able to sort of get this glimpse, by the way, of what this playmat looks like.
It's a beautiful playmat.
It really is. The players are just making it happen.
There's a Ledev Guardian for Kenji, so it looks like he is on Selesnya. That first card, it looks like a Vernati Shieldmate. That's the 2-2 with Vigilance. So this is a pretty solid card. He's looking to just get his game plan going early, maybe start convoking some things later on.
Ooh. Looks like that one is going to get quickly eliminated. 4 damage to it. That's going to exile it instead. This 2-2 not getting ready to jump into the fray, but we are seeing this Boros Control. 2 of these guild gates already on the battlefield. So now the Ral not going to be the hardest thing to cast. And the board just continuing to develop for Kenji. He's moving it up a little bit, walking up the chain of the curve.
Yeah, that's a Rosemane Centaur that we see there. So he convoked that on turn 5. This is exactly what his deck wants to do. It wants to get these Vigilance creatures down early so that he could possibly attack with them and then still convoke out a big creature. So this is definitely what his deck wants to be doing.
Pumpy Tappy. So if you were to guess what the name Pumpy Tappy implies out of this deck from Kenji, what are you looking at?
I think I'm looking at Pack's favor, to be honest.
Ooh, okay. I like where your head's at.
So this is a convoke spell that gives a creature +3/+3. It's possible that he has more than one Ledev Guardian as well. So this is a 2-2 that can make 1/1 tokens, and when those tokens, when Ledev Guardian attacks, you can tap any number of untapped creatures and give it +1/+1 until end of turn for each untapped creature that you tap for it. So
all right, and the beetle's coming down. That is going to go ahead and throw down a +1/+1 counter. We're going to see that represented with that die. And now
a permanent pump, if you will.
Yeah, and that actually is going to be a pretty big improvement in just the capacity for this deck to go to combat. Because having that extra power and toughness up against this 10th District Guard, which remains the only creature on the battlefield, is going to be a big aspect. Ooh. We've got a Whelp on the battlefield, though.
We have a Whelp on the battlefield.
3/3 with flying. When it attacks, 1 damage to all the other creatures. That beetle is not long for this world.
It is not, no. So it looks
so tough.
Yeah, it looks like Kenji can probably still keep attacking through this, though. His plan is probably just to keep pressuring Jerry on the ground, and yep, he's going to attack in with that 3/3 with Vigilance. No downside there.
Yeah, I mean, the trade-off is that Jerry throws down the Whelp in front of it. That's okay. Yeah. Fine, that's fine by me. So we are just going to continue the Selesnya cards, the curve happening. Not an enormous amount of, like, this isn't like a board on Kenji's side that really screams like high power level, everything happening. It's just continually playing out solid, efficient creatures.
Right, and that's more or less what Selesnya wants to do in this format. It wants to just play these efficiently costed creatures, gum up the ground, and then attack with Vigilance.
And it looks like we are going to see the Sergeant there, the Garrison Sergeant. It's actually a 3/3 with double strike. We do have quite a few gates for Jerry.
Right. This is a card that doesn't see a ton of play in Boros decks because Boros decks don't tend to play a ton of gates or want such a low impact 5-drop. But in a deck like this that has those gates, it can actually be a solid finisher.
So it is time to dive into combat. We are going to have some plays around it. No!
There's that Pack's favor.
It was not long for this world, unfortunately.
No, the pack favored the Rosemane Centaur, for sure.
Oh, that pack. So fickle. So fickle. Oh, goodness. All right, so back to Jerry. Kenji, just kind of building up this board. A little bit weak to the Whelp right now. Flying, not that relevant in the world of Kenji. Green-white, not really known for its ability to jump off of the ground. Some of those angels, maybe. And it's going to be another one of these Garrison Sergeants coming down, so another 3/3 with double strike. We'll have to see if Kenji is able to live up to the front name of his deck once more.
Right. Yeah, it looks like he's going to trade off there again. Bringing up the air game, there is very little that Selesnya can do to get its creatures in the air. Rock Charger is one that we brought up during James's draft, but this is an uncommon, so it's not super likely that he has one of these in his deck.
Ooh, and
it looks like he's just going to keep playing out these Rosemane Centaurs, though.
Keep doing what you're doing, Jerry. It's working. There's a 3/3 in the air, and all is right in the world. Jumping over to Kenji's side. Not quite able to get a read on what the life totals are at the moment. I think we've got a little bit of a mystery there. Ooh, look at that. Someone's playing with the settings.
Oh, yeah.
I know what it looks like when settings are getting played with. All right. Back to Kenji.
Oh, he's just going to attack in here.
I like it. Make your vigilance proud. We're going to throw some blocks in front of this one. Let's go ahead and see what we can do. It's going to be a trade of those creatures. Jerry's still coming out kind of okay. This board is not incredible.
Yeah, it looks like Kenji is flooding out a little bit here, which is something that can happen in a Selesnya deck. The creatures don't tend to have much evasion, trample or flying, things like that, so sometimes you can just sputter out.
Yeah, looking at this one, March of the Multitudes is what I want to see from Kenji.
That would be amazing here.
It would be real good. I'm hoping. I'm feeling it. Of course, with Kenji, he drafts so much. He builds just so many wacky limited decks. I almost feel like I can't fully prepare, because I can't tell if he was really trying to build a Selesnya deck, or at one point he was like, ooh, this is a meme.
Yeah.
I'm into it. And just chased it down. So we might get to see something a little bit on the unusual side there from Kenji. Jerry, on the other hand, a very practiced drafter.
Oh, yeah.
Certainly knows his way around such just tournaments like this. You know,
yeah,
new set coming out.
These are probably the two most practiced drafters at our table.
Getting them down in the first round. Such a shame that they're up against each other, too.
Right.
Normally you'd expect that in the finals, but early on, these two are going to have to part ways into the second round and hope for the best. And actually, this a lot of this tournament, you know, with 8 players, we're doing a total of 9 rounds of this event. We're going to get to see a lot of diversity in the matchups because each of these players are going to really have an opportunity to play against each other.
Right.
And so that's going to be a really nice aspect from getting all of your favorites onto this table, getting a chance to sort of see them in action, because there's going to be just such a wild mix. Ooh, it's a tribunal, and it is not going to go well. We are down to just a singular creature, a giant swing coming in. You can see Kenji evaluating his board, looking at his lands, and noticing that those cannot block.
Nope, he's taken 7 here.
This is a rough hit, and this game is just looking like it is in the hands of Jerry Thompson at the moment. Kenji needs to... Yep, all right.
Yep, that Siege Worm he drew was not going to get it done.
I mean, it was going to be a step in a direction. I don't know what direction, but a direction.
Yeah, so Siege Worm, definitely a vital component in these Selesnya decks, because, as I was saying, the Selesnya decks don't really have a ton of ways to push damage through. They have solid creatures, they have efficient creatures, but without something like Trample, they just kind of get blocked by all of these small creatures. There's a lot of Death Touch in this format, as we mentioned earlier. So sometimes your Rosemane Centaur is just going to run into a Hired Poisoner. Not in this matchup, obviously. But Selesnya definitely needs to either go wide or go over the top. So it'll be interesting to see if Kenji can have maybe more of an explosive turn with something like his Ledev Guardian before Jerry can remove it from the battlefield.
All right, so they are heading into the sideboard here. And it is going to be Kenji up against Jerry. So we haven't not gotten to see that rally yet.
We have not, but definitely a strong card to have in an Izzet deck. I'm a little concerned that he's not going to have as many instances of sorceries as necessary to really get the full value out of Ral. But any Planeswalker is going to be a solid kind of end game in Limited.
Yeah, there have not been a whole lot of them. Unfortunately, one of my favorite Planeswalkers ever makes that list.
Oh, who's that?
Tybalt.
Oh, Tybalt.
Tybalt.
So why do you like Tybalt? I know not a lot of people.
He's
are
the
on
best
Team
dressed
Tybalt.
Planeswalker in the multiverse.
Okay,
I also,
give him that.
so being a red mage myself means that there's just a certain innate level of like defiance that you can expect from me. I don't mean to do it. It's not what I want to do, but I have to. If you say this card's bad immediately, I'm feeling feisty about the situation. So you give me Tibble and tell me that suddenly he's my hero. Suddenly he's the hometown hero. He's the underdog, right?
Okay.
So I've tried putting him in a couple of decks. I've tried making it happen. I've now assembled a collection of somewhere in the realm of like 250 of them.
250
An
Tybalts.
absurd amount of Tybalts.
That is more Tybalts than anyone needs.
Yep. Most of the competitors in this room have actually signed one of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you get them all signed?
Not all 250. I'm at about 80 to 90 signatures across them. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. So this one, you are watching Guilds of Ravnica Limited. This is a draft. We started off the tournament watching James Turner, and now we are shifting our sights to Jerry Thompson and Kenji Igashira. And heading into game 2, we saw Jerry Thompson lead off with a pretty powerful... I mean, it was really just carried by the whelp, was it not?
Yeah, it was a fairly aggressive start. Not the most explosive start that you see from a Boros deck, but it looks like he's playing more of a mid-range strategy. The Garrison Sergeant was a really good indication that he's not looking to play a low-to-the-ground deck like the one that James drafted. He's looking to be a little more mid-rangey, play a couple 2-drops, gum up the ground, and then finish with something like a Hellkite Whelp. Yeah,
and, you know, this format holistically has a lot of gates in it. It's got a lot of mana fixing. It's got, I mean, just... You know, there's a lot of capacity for that. But there's also quite a few cards in the way that the mana costs are set up to really incentivize you to only be in 2 colors. Is this a format that you feel pretty comfortable going into a 3rd color? Or is this something to where, when you're heading into it, really your number one goal is 2 colors and you're taking the splash as kind of a last-ditch effort to put together the deck? Where's your comfort level?
I think it's kind of somewhere in the middle. I think going for a 2-color strategy is pretty strong because the cards within those 2 colors are going to have a lot of synergy with them. If you stick to 2 colors, you're going to have a very solid deck. But sometimes there are some cards that you just can't pass up. There are cards that will win the game on their own, kind of like Rao, where sometimes you can't pass it up and you're just like, okay, got a guild gate, I'm going to do it.
All right, everybody. Well, this is the Chalice event, Guilds of Ravnica Limited, as Jerry Thompson is going for his mulligan. Remember that this is all about giving to big brothers, big sisters of Puget Sound. You can go ahead and check out what their organization does. They put together these people, you know, both younger and older, to build these mentorships to help both of them really enhance their life, improve their quality of life, find that person to kind of provide some guidance. You can check it out, thechalice.cosvox.com. Donate now. Be a part of this one. And you can really just be a part of making those connections between people, because every time that happens, it's just such a powerful effect on someone's life. So, game 2, kicking off here, it is going to be Kenji on the play. Those gates have been consistent. And that's a Crater Maker that came down to the battlefield?
Yep, bit of a slow start for Kenji, too, and Jerry's really putting the pressure on this game. He has that Goblin down on turn 2 and following it up with a Blade Instructor. So I think that Goblin's going to get mentored pretty quickly.
Yep, that Blade Instructor, it's a 3/1 with Mentor, really low toughness, but that 3 power means that it can really put that +1/+1 counter on quite a few things. And this Crater Maker, also a pretty versatile card. You know, it's a 2/2, but it can kill another creature that toughness 2 or fewer. It can also eliminate a colorless permanent. There are a couple of artifacts in this set that you might be looking to take down?
Yep. There are a couple of gargoyles at uncommon that have pretty strong effects. So being able to zap one of those is pretty strong. Justice Strike, also a very, very good removal spell. Good pickup for Jerry, but he's only stuck on 3 lands.
Yeah, that Justice Strike, it is just red-white. Target creature deals damage to itself, kind of punches itself. It's the classic why it hitting yourself, and looks like Kenji did not have a good answer for it.
He did not.
His creature went to the graveyard. It's more this Crater Maker jumping in, and Kenji already finds himself down to 12 life, while Jerry's very comfortably still at 20.
Yeah, so Kenji is building out his board. There's another Rosemane Centaur there for him, and Jerry, unfortunately, still stuck on 3 lands, and I thought I saw a Trostani in Kenji's hand, which could really turn the tide of a game or shut the door if Jerry can't amass his own board fast enough.
My good. All right, oh man, now I'm hoping to see it. Let's make it happen. That card produces quite aboard. You've already got the sizable body of that one. It gives also plenty of tokens to go alongside it. Phenomenal with Convoke as well. And yeah, we're going to get Tristani. We're going to line up some of these tokens, and that is going to be what? I mean, just the power and toughness out of this card is immense. Going wide, like Jerry Thompson no longer looks like he's in control.
He does not know. I don't think this Goblin is going to have any profitable blocks here. A Sure Strike for Jerry would not be the worst, but he still has a ways to go to come back from this. Another relevant mode that Tristani has, actually, is giving creatures +1/+1. That Hellkite Whelp of Jerry's could really go a long way if he's looking to mow down Kenji's 1/1 creatures.
Right.
But being able to provide that Anthem effect is really going to protect Kenji's board here.
And that's other creatures, correct?
Correct.
That get that +1/+1 ability, so really providing a pretty immense boost to this board.
This is
a bad spot to be in. We've now got a 4/4 on the battlefield that is actually a 5/5 in reality. Kenji did what he wanted to do. This board is powerful, and look at that, by the way. A little bit of a shift, and now everything has come together. I'm liking the lighting a bit more right now.
Absolutely. And so Jerry's going to play this Garrison Sergeant and try and hold down the ground, but it doesn't trade that profitably with any of these creatures, and Kenji's just going to send them all in.
I mean, the 3/3, the Sergeant, you know, it does its best impression as a 6/3 blocker that's able to kind of get that first hit in. But it's still a pretty devastating board, and that, oh!
Bounty of Might.
+9/+9, or anywhere.
Wow.
Target creature gets +3/+3. Target creature gets +3. Target creature gets +3/+3.
What a finish for Kenji there.
Oh, my goodness.
That's how you want to end a game of Guilds of Ravnica Limited when you're in green. Just
That's a
Bounty
finisher.
of Might. That's a finisher, all right.
Do you
That's
know
a
what
better finisher than any individual creature.
You know what the dream is for me? The dream is to do all 3 of those targets on a bounty agent.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Just make a giant 11/11 with vigilance that is full of bounty.
The most bounteous.
The bountiful.
The most bountiful agent.
Yeah. the most bountiful.
The most bountiful agent.
But Kenji, I mean, his way worked too.
Yeah.
His way worked too. Less cool, but still good. So they're going to be heading into a game 3 here. It looks like we are getting another one. These players not wasting any time. Look at that clock in the middle.
No. I mean, as we said, these are 2 of the most practiced players at the table. They probably have a good idea if they're going to sideboard what they're bringing in and out pretty quickly, and so they're not wasting any time getting to game 3 here.
Yep, and just a quick note there is that as you're watching, you might be thinking to yourselves, I know I am, my goodness, you know, these cards, they're beautiful. It's the new Guilds of Ravnica, but tell me about that playmat that's underneath them, because that is a spiffy-looking playmat. Well,
absolutely.
Hallie, tell me all about how you the viewer, can get your hands on that playmat.
Absolutely. So, if you can donate now to thechalice.cosvox.com at the $100 level, we have 100 of those playmats numbered and signed by our artist Justin Treadway, who did the design work. Those can be yours if you donate now to Big Brothers Big Sisters and help us keep mentoring youth in our area.
All right, so these players getting set up. Just that logo on the left is just gorgeous.
It is.
Big fan. Big fan of it. All right, so Boris Control with Raoul. We've been seeing those guild gates really consistently coming down. So Jerry Thompson, his mana base has looked really excellent. But last game, I mean, the first game, neither player really had their game plan coming together. You know, it got carried by the Whelp, but Kenji's deck looked incredible last game.
Yeah, in that first game, neither of them really had much of an explosive start. Jerry was able to just kind of chip away at Kenji's life total with his 3/3 flyer, getting his 2/1 in the air, chipping away for 5 every turn. This game was much more explosive in Kenji's favor.
All right, so they're looking at these opening hands here. It is game 3. This is the decider. A lot of pride on the line for these 2 players. Both of them very practiced drafters. Both of them with a very solid following that they're going to have a little bit of bragging rights coming away from this table early on.
Absolutely.
In the tournament.
So it looks like Kenji's using Flower here on his first turn to grab a land out of his library.
Hey, an effect like that was good enough to get banned in Standard at one point. You know, find a basic land, put it in your hand, and we are just going to be kicking. Oh, man.
Ooh, that's a Conclave Guild Mage.
Guild Mages are good, are they not?
Guild Mages are good. This Guild Mage in particular, very strong in Kenji's strategy because its second ability lets him make a token every turn. Unfortunately, that ability costs 6 mana, and it looks like Kenji is stuck on 2 here. So it may be a little while before we see that happening.
Yeah, and one thing just out of these Guild Mages that we haven't seen in the past is that the new ones do tap to activate their ability. That's been something a little bit in the past they have not needed to. But I think what that's really done is explore a little bit of option where they can raise that power level a bit, make them more individually powerful. I mean, the Boros one is able to throw that lightning bolt at the player. That's difficult to do on something that is just a forever mana sink. Big swing here though from the Harbinger.
Wow.
The guard, the 10th district.
Yeah.
Guard.
So Jerry taking advantage of Kenji's stumbling there to build out his board with that Venerated Loxodon.
That is the Venerated.
He does have a removal spell in his hand to deal with that Guild Mage, but he is looking to build out his board first, maybe force Kenji into a situation where he'll have to make a bad block and really take over this game.
I was excited. It looked like a swing. It wasn't a swing. It was a Venerated Loxodon. He started putting +1/+1 counters down, and I had to come to the realization that it wasn't attacking, which is my favorite part of the game.
Oh yeah, that Loxodon has come down and spread its bounty
Now it's
with
my
all these
favorite
creatures.
part.
Yeah, now everyone's going into the red zone.
Oh, man.
And
Game 1, a little bit of a stumble from both players. Game 2, Kenji's dream, and Jerry getting it done here. This Guild Mage suddenly just having to throw itself in front of this creature. Not a great situation to be in. I mean, the Venerated Loxodon is already, it's a 5-mana 4/4 at its base level. But it encourages you to try and use as many of your creatures as possible.
Yep, and that was 11 damage coming at Kenji's face there, so this game may not be too much longer.
One thing that I really love about this Venerated Loxodon is just the thought of, would it be better if it had a higher mana cost?
That is a good question. It would probably do a lot less spreading counters that way.
All right.
All right, but that's going to do it. Wow, that was a very quick game.
Seriously, these players wasted no time. Jerry Thompson coming away with the win 2-1 up against Kenji, who knew Metagaming.
Right, absolutely. And we are going to be sending it down to our backup feature match, where we have Michelle Rapp playing against Ashlyn Rose.
Looks like Wes, we're jumping in. It is already 1-1, so it is game 3 here, and I love these deck names. We've got Go Go Golgari.
Nice.
Oh man, I can't quite remember, but if there's an artifact in this deck, it's got to be the Go Go Golgari gadget, right?
I mean, yeah,
That's a
absolutely. you just have to. And with Michelle's deck, I can only assume that's an allusion to We Dragonauts.
You have to be right. I was just looking at that. I was like, man, I'm thinking vehicles, but those are no longer around from Kaladesh. We Dragonauts would be a great one. And you were talking earlier about one of your favorite things to see in this format is a really, like an Izzet deck that came together.
Right.
And we might be getting a good jump start on the event here.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Oh, man, move on over, LSV. Now it's my game to do. Oh, man, no, that's not nearly as
That's still his game.
That's his game. That's his game. All right, so this is actually the last match of this one. So this is kind of the final culmination of round 1. This is the send-off, the kickoff, the start of this incredible event. There's been a lot of anticipation for us behind the scenes getting ready for this one. We have met several times, kind of just getting ready for it. And it is just such an exciting thing to see this come together to begin. This weekend's going to be amazing.
This event has been a long time in the making, too. The Engaged team here at Card Kingdom has been working for almost a year, actually, conceptualizing and planning and organizing this tournament, and it's amazing to see it actually happening.
All right, so we have got a Guild Gate and a Mountain throwing down a Goblin Electromancer, a card that is no stranger to many people. It's not its first time around the block. It is now in Modern as well, and it's not going to actually end up lasting long. Doing a quick little jump there, just realigning, I think, that image from Michelle Rapp.
Goblin Electromancer, an essential ingredient in any Izzet deck, especially one that is looking to cast multiple spells in a turn. Really helps you maximize your mana.
Ashlyn just kicking things off nice and simple with a really clean removal spell in this format. Oh,
But there's another Electromancer.
Did you see Ashlyn just raise her hands there? What am I supposed to do? At least there's not two of them.
That's true. There could have been two of them.
So this is the Golgari deck. Earlier when I was talking, I didn't get a great chance to see Michelle's deck, but I do know that Ashlyn, this deck's got some power.
Yeah, you had mentioned Charnel Troll, Izoni. Lots of really solid cards. I see a Crawl Harpooner in Ashlyn's hand, a really solid uncommon. So, as we were saying, Golgari gets a bad rap, but sometimes if you're the one player in Golgari, you just get all the cards you need.
Yeah, it comes together. So, we are going to see the Distant. And it is going to be that 2/2. It's got, I think, a 5 mana ability. Is that correct?
It does, yeah. If you pay 4 and a green. Oh. But it's
Did we just see Prey Upon try and take down that Goblin Electromancer, but it get returned to the hand?
Yes, that Devkarin Dissident had an unexplained disappearance back to Ashlyn's hand.
I feel like we could explain it. We just saw it. I feel like we won't tell. We won't tell.
Wait, nobody saw anything.
Everybody in chat, keep it a secret, all right? It's unexplained.
Keep secrets. Don't spread rumors. We're supporting lots of really positive interactions here.
Secrets are no fun. Secrets hurt someone.
Absolutely.
You know? All right, so we've got Ornery Goblin down on the battlefield. It's going to be a nice little creature. Beats up on some of those 1/1s, which there are some of those 1/1 insects.
Yep.
In this deck from Ashlyn Rose. So it's not going to be a card without purpose.
That's true, and if Ashlyn plays something like a Hired Poisoner, a 1/1 with Death Touch, that can really get in Michelle's way if she's looking to play an Izzet deck that's playing a handful of really high-impact creatures and just a bunch of spells to back it up. That Ornery Goblin can really pick that off pretty easily.
Hoping to see a Crackling Drake out of Michelle Reb's deck.
She has the mana for it.
These, the Spell Drakes are just continually exciting to me.
They're great. I love an Enigma Drake, love a Crackling Drake.
And we mentioned a little bit earlier, it's really the kind of the green decks. They don't have an enormous capacity to handle the flyers.
That's true. Crushing Canopy is in this format, and I see a handful of people maybe playing one main deck, definitely siding it in matchups where there are a lot of flyers, because especially against Dimir, there are a ton of flyers that you have to deal with.
Go, Golgari Gadget.
That's the Golgari Gadget there. The locket.
I knew I'd get the chance to do it. I'm so excited. All right.
Go Gadget. Draw 2 cards.
Oh, man, that card does everything. That card does everything. A 2/2 on the battlefield up against this Ornery Goblin. Lots of 2 power, lots of capacity to trade. Combat not looking incredible for really either player right now.
That's true. Once Ashlyn untaps, it'll be interesting to see kind of if that changes. Since, as we mentioned, the Dissident has an activated ability that lets you pay 5 mana to give it +2/+2. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how this turn plays out and if Ashlyn gets an opportunity to activate that.
Ooh, and actually both these players working with a little bit of mana ramp. Oh, is that Hypothesizel?
It is one of my favorite card names in this set.
There's a lot of valuable card names in this one.
There are.
And what a good time Hypothesizel is. Have you ever... It just calls back to kind of those days when you kind of make up words.
Yeah.
To think about what it is that you're doing. Perfectly falls in that range.
Nice portmanteau. So Michelle has to discard a non-land card if she wants to deal 4 damage to a creature. It looks like she's choosing Piston Fist Cyclops, a really strong card in this Izzet deck, especially if she's playing a more aggressive version. But it looks like she's just trying to clear the board. She sees that maybe Ashlyn is slowing down a little bit, and she's taking advantage of this opening to push 4 damage through.
Yep, down to 14 goes Ashlyn, and I think that is going to be a big capacity out of this Golgari deck. It's not always a big early game deck. I mean, even the main mechanic of it is very designed to kind of get better as the game goes on, and I think we're going to see this element where right now, if you were to take a snapshot of this game state, Ashlyn has no creatures, maybe a mana up, but not really got a whole lot going on, and it's going to be really curious because as we start to see some of these creatures go to the graveyard, there's capacity for some haymakers as it goes on.
That's true. There are capacities for haymakers on either side, but Michelle has the better ability to answer that with some of the spells that she has in her deck. I'll be interesting to see if Sonic Assault makes an appearance in this game, because that's the kind of card that Izzet can really leverage when it's trying to get through those last several chunks of damage.
Another interesting thing is that, you know, traditionally these kind of big black-green decks can give a lot of issues to the decks that are running those smaller creatures. Because you know, red removal does not line up well against these massive creatures. But
That's
having
true.
the blue available in this Izzet strategy means that, you know, Unexplained Disappearance was a nice way to just clear anything off the board. So it ended up taking down the Distant, but
Absolutely.
looks like we get a 1/3 Spider.
Yeah, that Spider is actually going to do a good amount of blocking on this board. The Ornery Goblin can't trade with it, so Michelle doesn't have very good attacks here.
The Ornery Goblin does have some capacity, I get if it's getting aggressive, because it does have that triggered ability.
That is fair. The Spider is a 1/4, though. But, oh, Michelle has found a Watcher in the Mist now. So that's going to dig her 2 cards deeper into her library, and hopefully she'll find a way to deal with the Spider.
Watcher in the Mist is so good.
Watcher in the Mist is very good. Well suited for either a Dimir deck or a more controlling Izzet deck that's looking for just a way to end the game.
Just being up in the air like that, I always wanted to have 4 power because, you know, I want that out of everything. But, yeah, just not a whole lot going on. And that's that lone Spider. That is just holding all 3 of those creatures. I think startled. It's October, which means that spiders get a little bit of a bonus for being extra spooky. Is that strikes me as true? Oh, we got
so
plays.
Ashlyn may be looking to deploy a Crawl Harpooner this turn, which would take down that Watcher in the Mist.
Yeah, that Crawl Harpooner would end up getting +1/+0 for each creature in the graveyard, which...
Looks like Ashlyn has 1.
Ooh.
So this is going to be a 1-for-1 for Ashlyn.
All right. I mean, it gets the job done, so both those creatures are going to be eliminated, and the big 3/4 off the battlefield, so the Spider is left remaining. And actually, both of these players, a lot of mana card advantage is going to start being really a big player in this game, which Ashlyn does have a little bit of an advantage in currently.
And here's a Necrotic Wound.
That's going to be -2/-2. Eliminate the Electromancer, and now it is an Ornery Goblin up against a Spider that seems much more passive, a little bit more chill.
Yeah, so Ashlyn definitely has the advantage at this stage in the game. Not only does she have that great blocker, she also has the Locket that she can crack next turn. This Leapfrog not going to do anything against that 1/4 blocker.
No, but it's Leapfrog. It's the perfect card. Perfect art, great name. It's perfect.
So Ashlyn can't activate this Locket just yet. It looks like a judge is reminding her that you have to pay 4 plus activate the ability.
Yeah, can't tap for its own ability there, and we are just going to go for the draw. Ashlyn probably going to invest early on in this turn. It's one of those things where a sorcery speed activation of it when you have nothing else to do, not that punishing.
Yeah, that actually seems like a fine option for her here, especially if she's looking for more ways to kind of press her advantage.
We got a creature in hand, though.
The creature she's looking at here looks like Molder Hulk. It looks like she's counting how many creatures in her graveyard to see how much of a discount she's going to get on it.
I wonder if the idea is, can I put this together to where it's enough to draw the cards and play it? Not quite. I mean, pretty far off from it. It is going to be enough to play it, tap in all of this mana, and now the Hulk is on the battlefield. It's now the biggest thing on the board, the biggest baddie.
Yeah, this is definitely a tough spot for Michelle. Again, she's looking for some of these spells like Sonic Assault to get some damage through. But even that is not going to do very much against a 6/6. She's going to play this Radical Idea, try and dig for an answer. But I think racing is going to be tough for her when Ashlyn has this big 6/6.
A little bit unfortunate that I don't think there is a land in the graveyard.
There isn't.
Lame. You just want one, don't you? That's, man. It's a little bit difficult. You know, you would need something like an Evolving Wilds to really be able to get that. Or one nice thing is that sometimes you can grab some of those Surveil cards to jump into your Golgari deck because those abilities just work so well together.
Absolutely.
All right, so Leapfrog and an Ornery Goblin up against this massive Hulk of a creature. 6/6.
Absolutely. Yeah, not very good attacks for Michelle there. Even if she gives that frog flying, the spider can still block it, so not very good attacks for her. I think she's looking to see if she can play an extra land this turn and deploy this Piston Fist Cyclops, but even that is not looking great on this board.
No, it's a 4-3. I think the biggest thing that that provides is that the Molder Hulk doesn't get to attack freely. Before, it would have just attacked in and maybe traded with both creatures, and you would have had just the spider. At this point, there's enough creatures on the battlefield that it's kind of just a stare down.
Absolutely.
14 to 20. Michelle and Ashlyn locking eyes on this battlefield and wondering who is going to be the first to blink, I suppose.
Right. I still think Ashlyn has a bit of an advantage here, since she does still have the biggest creatures on the board, plus that untapped locket, and there she's going to go cash it in, look at 2 fresh cards, and see if she can draw a way out of this, look for a way to break the stalemate.
And that's really big because we're kind of achieving a point to whereas both players were running low on cards. You know, each turn that you draw a card and it's something like a land that isn't going to keep building up your board, suddenly you are in a disadvantage, you know? And having access to drawing 2 additional cards means that the odds of Ashlyn missing at this point for a turn are just going to go down. And this might just be a matter of both of these players continue, you know, draw the card for the turn, progress the board a little bit, pass it back, see if they can do the same. And
Absolutely.
just kind of stay in this lockstep until one of them stumbles. Then the advantage is likely going to get pressed. Considering of the options here. Oh, it's Prey Upon.
Another Prey Upon.
So we're going to eliminate the Piston Fist. I think we were just trying to see which the most valuable card out of that was. Take down the biggest one when in doubt. It is a sorcery, and then kick the turn back. Do you like holding on to that one, or do you like saving it?
I actually kind of like deploying it at this stage. Ashlyn is looking to just shut the door at this point. She has the biggest creature on the board, and preventing Michelle from getting a good double block is definitely high on her priority list here.
And also, you know, while Michelle, no cards in hand, so
Right.
you don't have to worry about anything like an unexplained disappearance of your spider,
Right.
for instance. Interesting choice going for that one over the 6/6.
Right. Ashlyn wisely not attacking that turn because that would have prompted a trade with either of Michelle's creatures, since the Molder Hulk does take damage from the creature it fights. It is a 2-way street there.
Yep. So now it is the Leapfrog that got to attack. The interesting thing now, though, is that Molder Hulk has nothing stopping it from attacking at this point. It's a 6/6, only an Ornery Goblin in the way. And while it is ornery, which is you know, it adds to its feist potential.
It's a very spunky goblin, but
Yeah.
it can't block a 6/6 very profitably.
A lot of gusto. But against a 6/6, that is just not going to end up carrying a whole lot of weight. We've got that 6/6 jumping into the fray, and I think Michelle is just going to take the hit, go down to 14, and that's going to leave us at 14 all. And now what is Ashlyn going to do? We know about the spider, which can be deployed.
Right, she could redeploy the spider. She also has an Azoni in her hand that she could play, but I think she's looking to get more creatures into her graveyard and get a bit more value out of it.
Yeah, the Izoni, it might just be this idea of that's almost the fail-safe card. If
Ooh.
everything goes wrong, that card will have your back.
So this is a Swarm Guildmage here for Ashlyn. And so we talked about the Guildmages a little bit earlier. This is one that I'm a little bit down on, because if the Golgari deck is looking to play these big creatures, giving something Menace is not necessarily the most impactful thing that you can do. If you have a big creature, you're probably going to swing with it anyway, and your opponent is going to leave back some creatures to double block it. But if Ashlyn deploys an Azoni, suddenly she has all of these 1/1s, and giving those Menace can shut the door pretty quickly.
Yeah, and you've got that gain life ability at the front end, which is a little bit underwhelming to me, but I do like that it's cheap enough. It's only 2 mana to gain the 2 life. A lot of the abilities on these guild mages are a bit more on the expensive side.
Right.
And just having something to do with your mana, I mean, looking at just Ashlyn's board, I know 6 mana available. These players have been kind of dancing around the capacity to end up in top deck mode. So having something that means, all right, I don't need to worry about it quite so much whenever I've got this extra mana, gain a little bit of life. It's just free value when Ashlyn's at 9. Could be a bit of an upside.
Yeah, in this board state, it's actually looking pretty valuable, so we might see Ashlyn try and conserve her mana a little bit to activate that ability, because Michelle does have that Sonic Assault in her graveyard, so if she wants to start getting that leapfrog in the air and tapping the spider so that it can't block it, not only is she going to be attacking for 3, but she'll also be dealing 2 damage when she jumpstarts the Sonic Assault. So if she can keep that train going, she could end up winning this game pretty quickly.
Yeah. Leapfrog. The perfect card. Just getting it done. All day, every day. Is this the Find Broker?
It is.
Uh-oh.
And it looks like that might be grabbing a deadweight.
I would grab a deadweight. And now that Leapfrog is going to be left. Who shackles a frog?
Ashlyn, apparently.
Ashlyn. Come on now. You can't just imprison a frog like that. It was up on a wall. All right, so that means that Michelle Rapp now empty-boarded against a huge battlefield. This could be really where everything kind of goes wrong for Michelle.
Yeah, that Golgari Findbroker finding that deadweight was a huge swing in Ashlyn's favor, because if Michelle had been able to chain together 1 or 2 more instants and sorceries and get that leapfrog up, she could have very well run away with this game, but it looks like Ashlyn is back in the driver's seat.
Yeah, and this is currently just a 2-turn clock with a lot of... Oh, we got... Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
We have an effect
Pre-combat.
before attackers.
Let's see it. I hope it's sweet.
It's probably going to be a Sonic Assault here.
No, but I want it to be something else. Dang it, it was Sonic Assault.
It's a Sonic Assault on the Molder Hulk.
Fine. Though that actually might still be in the realm of the 2-turn clock, depending on if Ashlyn decides to deploy.
That's
Sarazoni.
true.
Because you do still have a lot of cards swinging in. You know that you don't have to worry about, like, the backswing. So Ashlyn is at 7, but there's not a whole lot of haste that I'm worried about dealing 7 to me at that situation, and any creature would end up turning sideways. So I think this is just going to be a big swing in from Ashlyn. Less big because the Molder Hulk did not get to join this party. Invitation lost in the mail.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. It's because of all the shouting. It was just a Sonic Assault.
I mean, maybe one of the Demir couriers can find it and return it to the Molder Hulk. Maybe next turn it'll join the party.
Yep. It will. The packages are always delivered, both sealed and read. Yeah. So there's the swing in, and we're going to see Michelle Rapp really for the first time jumping down to 15. Previously had a kind of commanding life total.
She did, yeah. I mean, her deck did what it wants to do. Just put pressure on the opponent early in the game, finish things off with Sonic Assault, but she just drew so many lands and didn't quite have the pressure that she wanted. It's funny, she had a very pivotal turn there when she cast the Hypothesizzle.
Is that a Lot-Less Giant?
She didn't necessarily have to use the triggered ability, or the activated ability, I should say, on that card to deal 4 damage to the creature by discarding a non-land card. She discarded the Piston Fist Cyclops. If she had kept that on the board, this might be a very different game. Yeah,
that's a great point. We do now, before you mentioned that it may not actually be the biggest thing in the world, but remember, we do now have these insects on the battlefield, but also, Michelle, in top deck mode against this massive board of creatures, we do see wee Dragonauts, but that Guild Mage is able to just give all these creatures menace, which means that even from a blocking capacity, that's no longer actually a factor.
That is true. So Michelle taking a look at her graveyard here.
Maybe there's some jumpstart cards that we forgot about.
She's probably looking to see if there are any jumpstart cards she forgot about. She may also be looking to see how much removal is left in her deck to reasonably deal with any of these creatures. Because right now, Izoni is not the problem. It's that Guild Mage. And that's going to do it.
Yeah, that is Ashlyn with the Golgari Swarm living up to its name now, with 7 of those creatures hanging out. Direct Current and wee Dragonauts not able to hold it back. All that mana goes to waste, unfortunately, and that means that Ashlyn is going to be moving in. Go, go, Golgari.
Go, go, Golgari. They went, indeed.
Hey everyone, my name is Sam Tang. I am here with Jerry Thompson. We are here at Mox Boarding House in Bellevue, Washington for Card Kingdom's charity tournament, the Chalice. We're raising money for Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Puget Sound. Jerry, how's it going?
Not too bad. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. We just finished up the first round of Guilds of Ravnica draft. How was your draft?
It went pretty well. I ended up in kind of a weird archetype. I'm like a control Boros deck, which is not super normal, but
yeah, I
have the top end, a bunch of removal, I get to splash
well, I'm
a
doing
Ral,
it too, but put it forward.
Things are good.
That's really wonderful. And how did your first round go with Kenji?
I defeated Kenji in the games where he did not cast Tristani.
Oh, okay.
How about now?
That's wonderful. And you are a very good player. How do you feel today about your draft and overall the competitive matchup?
Draft feels pretty good. I think I have a pretty good shot, especially since my deck ended up being pretty good. But the other formats are a little weird. They're not really my forte, you know. I've actually practiced draft a decent amount, but the other formats not so much.
Okay. The other formats, we have a battle deck, an auction of the people. Have you chosen your deck yet? Have you thought about which decks you want to choose?
I don't even know what's in them, really. CVM, who is in the tournament and designed the decks, or helped design the decks, kind of gave me the rundown of like what each deck is about. And that's about all I know, and I think I'm just going to roll with that. I think it's going to be more fun that way.
I love it. And that third one is Block Party.
Yep.
So you're able to choose blocks. Which blocks did you choose?
I started with 9th edition, and then took Champions of Kamigawa, Magic Origins, and Dominaria.
Okay, very cool. And then you also have a core set, right?
Yeah, 9th edition.
9th edition with your core set. Very cool. So any ideas on like what you've decided to build with it?
Oh, yeah. So there's a lot of different ways you could go, but since the sets were being drafted, you never really knew what you were going to have access to. So I tried to think of a way where, you know, maybe I would have a plan A, but then a backup plan. But what I ended up doing was the 9th edition has the majority of this blue-red land destruction deck that was very good in standard for a small window. So it was like, all right, I'll choose 9th. Maybe something cool will open up. If nothing else, I have this backup plan. And yeah, I'm casting Stone Rains for charity this weekend.
That's really wonderful. Do you feel that your plan will come to fruition and you will be able to blow up a lot of lands?
I certainly hope so. I mean, if I can't, then the deck's not really doing anything. That's just going to be embarrassing.
Did you think at all about metagaming a little bit? Like thinking about what your other competitors are going to be choosing and building?
Kind of, but it's too hard because they get to build from 1,200 cards, and what might seem obvious to me might be different than what is obvious to them and everything. So for the most part, I just tried to choose a deck and like a sideboard and everything that would be a little bit well-rounded and kind of good against everything. So we'll see. I mean, if people are playing like crazy combo decks, I know Michelle has like this living end deck that it seems pretty scary. So who knows?
Well, you know, we are gathered here today to raise money for Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Puget Sound. I really appreciate all of the work that you've done being very philanthropic, raising money for charity. And also, you are a teacher. You do a great job teaching people about Magic the Gathering and strategy. Can you share with us a little bit about your thoughts about mentorship?
So I think that if I had access to something like this as a youth or child, whatever, I think it would have been really beneficial for me. And I'm not really sure how I went from like cutthroat Magic player to the role where I'm in now, where it's like the cutthroatness is just gone, right? And all I want to do is like make content, help people, have them learn, get better, and just, you know, reach their full potential, basically. And there's basically nothing more rewarding for me than to see that happen. And I think that's just wonderful. And I think what Big Brothers Big Sisters is doing is, you know, very similar, except it's instead of like Magic tournaments and whatever, it's like life stuff, right? It's the very, very important things, the very important fundamental stuff.
Big Brothers Big Sisters of Puget Sound has 800 kids on their wait list. And so when you donate, the money goes to training an individual to be a mentor. So 4 to 5 months worth of training, and they're encouraged to stay and mentor their children for at least 5 years. So this is a real impact that
it's
people...
huge.
That's right, a huge impact that people are making on people's lives, kids' lives, and this kind of change stays with them for the rest of their lives. It gives them hope, it gives them guidance, not just mentorship, but also a lot of education, soft skills, life skills. It's really a wonderful way to brighten someone's future. And so if you please consider donating, we have a link in the chat. We also have a link here on our stream, also on the Card Kingdom blog at the Chalice. If you can donate, that would be wonderful. We would really love that. And the money goes directly to impacting children's lives, taking them off of the wait list. So please donate today. Jerry, any last words before we head back to the competition?
I'm ready to get back to it.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much. We're going to have more on the way, and I'm so excited. I've been taking a lot of vlog footage, so we're going to be sending it right back to the booth. Thank you so much.
Josh Lee Kwai, on your right.
Ashlyn Rose on the left. We just saw Ashlyn take down Michelle in round 1, and Josh really had a great round 1 as well.
Yeah.
How do you like these 2 decks, Oath of the Gate Josh and Go Go Golgari?
Yeah, honestly, I think in terms of just straight-up matchup analysis, I think Golgari is going to have a little bit of advantage. Green creatures traditionally do well versus a lot of these aggro attacking style decks, and I think Ashlyn's going to just be a little bit outclassing on Josh Lee Kwai's side.
Okay. So,
Josh is playing the Dimmer deck.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
that's right. Yeah, so it's going to be on Josh to go ahead and use his evasion creatures to try to attack around these larger, thicker creatures from the Golgari side. So I do like Josh's draft. He's got a lot of different cards. Dimmer Spybug is one of the key cards in his deck from looking at his draft. I know that Ashlyn also has the legendary Golgari, the Golgari leader. I can't remember the name of the card.
The Izoni.
Yeah.
That makes,
fantastic card.
Insects, yeah. And we're starting off hot and fresh. Josh Lee Kwai with a turn 1 Is It Guildgate on the battlefield, followed by Ashlyn with her own, Golgari Guildgate. And there is a Gateway Plaza for Josh Lee Kwai.
So we are all gated up on all sides of the match. A fantastic way to start. A lot of mana fixing coming down from both players.
Absolutely. I've seen Josh use that excellent Gateway Plaza in this deck. He's got a lot of colors to have. He needs access to. Ashlyn with a forest, and here comes Josh with a swamp, and he's going to play.
Is that Disinformation Campaign?
Excellent. Disinformation Campaign. It reads, when it comes into play, you draw a card, and your opponent discards a card. And then when you surveil, you can return that to your hand. Big-time engine for Josh. How do you like this card?
I think that card is absolutely fantastic, especially in a matchup where it's going to be a little bit slower and a little bit grindier. Josh is going to be able to get the card advantage engine rolling and draw additional cards and force Ashlyn to go ahead and discard some of the more powerful top end.
Absolutely. So let's see if Ashlyn has a response here. Another forest for Ashlyn.
Cranking up for 3, and it looks like she's going to go ahead and deploy. It could be a number of creatures coming from Golgari. And I think that's the it's the 2/2 where you can discard a creature card and get +2/+2.
Yes.
So a really nice meaty creature on Ashlyn's side. She's going to go ahead and get a nice board control versus Josh Lee Kwai. The one thing about Disinformation Campaign that's kind of difficult is it doesn't really do a good job defending Josh. It just kind of gives him the ability to go ahead and draw additional cards and force Ashlyn to discard.
Yes, absolutely. Big-time draw engine for Josh. And I believe that...
it's Charnel Troll.
Charnel Troll.
Even more. Yeah, that is a difficult card to deal with.
Let's bring up Charnel Troll if we can there on the stream, please. And Josh is considering his next action.
It's like a 4/4 for 3, and every turn Ashlyn has to exile a creature from her graveyard, or I think she can also discard creatures from her hand. But it's a powerful card and something that Josh is going to have to answer very quickly, unless his life total is going to start depleting. Josh tanking here. Oh, and a Dimmer Spybug.
The Dimmer Spybug, great card for his deck, especially with this surveil theme. And there's a spider off the top for Ashlyn Rose. We saw that last round put in some work against and there's goes the Charnel Troll in.
The one thing I will say about this Dimir deck that Josh is bringing to the table, it's a good deck if all the pieces function together correctly. But it's one of those things where Golgari is going to have a slight edge because a lot of the creatures that are being deployed by the Golgari deck are a little bit meatier, a little bit stronger, just in terms of general power level. So Josh is going to kind of need to figure out how to get his engine rolling, get his surveil mechanics going. We're seeing a tap here.
A look, and there's a dead weight from Ashlyn
and that
Rose.
is a huge move. As he goes ahead and clears the way for her attackers and the board from Josh Lee Kwai.
Pass back to Josh, and still with just that Disinformation Campaign in play and not much else going on.
Yeah.
A fistful of cards, but let's see what his follow-up is here after that big-time dead weight.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a great card. Watcher in the Mist. That's going to return that Disinformation Campaign and allow Josh to surveil too.
A fantastic card. Improved Air Elemental, as I like to call it. It's just a big flying creature. It's got evasion. It's a 4/4. It's powerful.
Josh considering this surveil, keeping both. Looks like Josh likes what's coming up. This could be bad news for Ashlyn. End of turn, we're going to discard that spider to Charnel Troll and give a little fodder for the troll.
Absolutely, yeah. You can see how Ashlyn seems to be almost all in on this tunnel troll.
Does Josh even have an answer? Could there be a bounce effect for Josh? Or
Yep. A bounce effect or a claustrophobia effect. Those would all be really powerful cards here that would allow him to kind of fight for this board. But Ashlyn, it looks like, is running away with just the biggest creature on the table.
Josh might have a deadly visit, says chat. So let's take a look. Ashlyn is in there, and
that could certainly buy him some time. I mean, this troll is out of control, I have to say.
Out of control.
Yes, sir. Ashlyn considering her options. She has 4 mana in play. I think she missed her land drop, it must have been.
Okay, Josh's turn. Ashlyn just passing. And there's another Gateway Plaza off the top, I believe. Not quite sure.
It looks like Josh has access to all the colors of mana he could ever need. So being able to cast his cards here is not going to be an issue.
Right.
Let's see here. Josh is deciding. He could go back to that disinformation campaign, but it doesn't really help him versus the troll. You know, it just goes ahead and it forces Ashlyn to discard, and that actually might help her out with the troll in play.
Right.
It's
She
kind of
won't need to
unreal.
activate
Yeah,
the troll.
that's right.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
right.
Yeah.
And I think that might have been the reason why she left up mana. She doesn't want to, you know, she doesn't want to play something and not have a card to discard.
Right, exactly. And Josh is
looks like
tapping
3.
and there is a quasi-duplicate. He's going to make another copy of that Watcher in the Mist.
Great call on that. That's one of those rares that you don't see so frequently. But, yeah, Quasi-Duplicate, a very powerful card, and he's going to go ahead and Surveil as well.
Right, so here's another copy of Watcher in the Mist in play. Quasi-Duplicate also has Jumpstart. So we could see triple Watcher in the Mist, but how is Josh going to put up a fight against this Charnel Troll?
It's one of those things. I think Josh right now is considering fighting for the board. He's going to go ahead and try to deploy more power than Ashlyn has on the table. And by going wide and having multiple creatures in play, it allows him to put together blocks and deal with the troll.
Right, and Josh did deploy that wall, and that is going to put up an actual wall.
Yeah, it's going to put the brakes on what Ashlyn's attempting to do right here, I believe. Josh Lee Kwai bringing the evasion creatures and certainly doing so correctly. I really like that line from Josh, not playing disinformation campaign, because then Ashlyn can, you know, doesn't necessarily have to activate the troll and use her mana this way. It's a good play, good heads up play from Josh.
Ashlyn's going to go ahead and discard. I believe that's the Celestia Guild, Golgari Guild mage there, and pumping up that Charnel Troll. And there goes that Exile, feeding the troll.
That's a 9/9 troll. That's a big creature. You know, one of the things I was thinking about Josh in this position, he only has 8 power in play, and I think it would have been a little bit good. It would have been good if he would have to swing with one of his creatures. You know, at this point, he's playing creatures with evasion, and he's playing down blockers, so maybe it would have been a good idea there. That's a Prey Upon being cast.
Wow, Prey Upon. That wall is down, and Charnel Troll unleashed. No more infinite blockers there.
Yeah. An absolute beating of a card. I mean, that's one of the premier cards you're trying to draft when you're drafting Golgari. It allows it basically gives your green deck removal. And that's a huge thing to have when your creatures are larger than your opponents.
Yeah, absolutely. And Josh is going to go ahead and block with this copy of Watcher in the Mist. Quasi-Duplicate, again, has Jumpstart. Josh has access to that card once again if he'd like to Surveil too and make another copy. And not sure.
Oh, my goodness. I am not certain. It's not the split rare card. It's the split card. It's the uncommon. I think this is Destroy. Oh, this is Bounce. Okay.
Bounce. Big time bounce. That Charnel Troll's back in Ashlyn's hand. And the Charnel Troll, which Ashlyn was all in on, is no longer a threat. Josh is swinging in with that Watcher in the Mist.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
just saving himself just in time. Josh all the way down to 3 there.
Yeah, you know, that troll did take a lot of cards from Ashlyn, but I think the amount of damage that it was able to deal more than makes up for the cards that were discarded.
Absolutely.
At this point, Ashlyn just needs to build a board and try to get around the creatures from Josh Lee Kwai.
Right, and Ashlyn's just going right back to the Charnel Troll plan, and that was Disperse Discovered. Thank you so much, chat. Chat, if you are watching, make sure you log on to thechalice.cosvox.com.
Oh, wow. Destroying the troll and taking it down, that's exactly what Josh needed. And at this point, the tempo advantage is firmly in Josh's control. A fantastic play.
That deadly visit was found by Josh. Great call, chat. And here comes in that Watcher in the Mist.
Right, yeah, getting in for 4, I believe, and just a complete empty board from Ashlyn Rose on her side. She's going to have to figure out what she wants to do in terms of getting back into this game. I mean, Josh is at 3. The unfortunate thing is Golgari doesn't have a lot of reach. It can't win the game outside of combat. It's going to be on Ashlyn to go ahead and deploy creatures and get into a better position.
And here goes the Golgari Findbroker. Big-time play from Ashlyn Rose. And getting back that Charnel Troll. We are all in on the Charnel Troll play.
Well, you know what? It's one of those nice things. I mean, Findbroker is a fantastic support card to play. It allows you to get your best card back from your graveyard. It's a 3/4 as well, so it does threaten lethal on Josh Lee Kwai.
Right.
Unbelievable play.
Absolutely. And Josh with that quasi-duplicate still in his graveyard.
Ashlyn is seeming to be playing this whole game with essentially one creature. It's kind of amazing.
Right.
The troll and then the Findbroker for the troll again, and Josh is again kind of on the back foot.
Okay, Josh is just going to pass. Can't take that hit from even the Findbroker all the way down to 3.
Wow.
And a 3/4 Watcher in the Mist will bounce off that Golgari Findbroker. If Ashlyn does decide to swing in, here comes the Charnel Troll once again.
I think that's the counter. Yeah, it's devious. It's the one where you shuffle in 4 cards from your graveyard. Devious
Josh
recovery.
had a plan the whole time, countering that Charnel Troll on its way back down. And Josh is going to go ahead and shuffle 4 cards back into his library.
A lot of uncommons on that shuffle, and a lot of really powerful cards getting shuffled back in for Josh Lee Kwai, and it's certainly going to help him out when it comes time to top deck. His threat density in his deck is much higher now.
Big-time counterspell from Josh, and that'll really help stabilize Josh. And here comes an Iron Shell Beetle, and that's going to make
that's actually a
Findbroker
huge
4/5.
play. That is actually a tremendous play. No
attack from
and
Ashlyn.
no attack from Ashlyn. I think that was a little bit of a mistake. Man, that is a huge play. That creature is dominating the board.
That is the biggest creature on the board, and Josh would have been forced to lose his Watcher in the Mist. Instead, Ashlyn's going to hang back on D with that Golgari Findbroker. Iron Shell Beetle putting that +1/+1 counter on Findbroker. And let's see what Josh's follow-up will be.
Josh deploying a land here. Access to 7 mana, I want to say.
Double
Only
Gateway
3.
Plaza
I think
well, we could go back to the disinformation campaign. Here comes the draw. There's the discard. And there's the 2/2 Death Touch in the graveyard for Ashlyn Rose.
That card would have been powerful on this board. Death Touch, a fantastic keyword ability.
Big time card. And Ashlyn has to lose it instead. Back to Ashlyn. Let's see if Ashlyn goes for a swing here.
An untap from Ashlyn. And she does have control of the board. She controls the biggest creature in play.
Here comes the Findbroker.
All right, here's the attack.
There's the block. Has to block. And here comes... Oh, the takedown.
Yeah.
Is going to tap down the Iron Shell Beetle and also give -2/-4 to that Golgari Findbroker, and the Watcher in the Mist will survive.
That was a fantastic combat trick by Josh, able to kind of go ahead and line up a smaller creature with a larger one and then use the block almost as removal.
That was an artful takedown, and here comes the Night Veil Sprite.
Artful indeed. Night Veil Sprite, one of Josh's key engine cards, as now he can go ahead and get this information campaign online. And with all of that mana, you got to believe that there's going to be nothing but advantage coming from Josh.
And Ashlyn,
Child of Night, I want to say.
Yes, yep.
Yeah,
Ashlyn's
Child of
gonna
Night
go ahead and deploy that Child of Night 2/1 life linker for Ashlyn. And with Josh at 3,
I want to say Pauper Cube All-Star Child of Night. Yeah.
Absolutely. There's the quasi-duplicate.
Oh, my goodness.
We're going to discard a Guild Gate.
Go ahead
there's
and make
a copy of Watcher in the Mist. Another
Watcher
3/4. Disinformation campaign returning to hand of Josh Lee Kwai, and the engine is on.
Wow, Josh doing a fantastic job in fighting for the board. Ashlyn kind of seeming to run out of gas just a little bit. And the card advantage from Josh is really starting to take over. You saw him. I mean, it looks like he's stabilized at 3, and that's exactly where he wants to be.
Yeah, exactly. All those engines working together, like you said, he needed to get all the pieces together in order for the strategy to work.
That's right.
And he sure has. Sure enough, here comes a tap for 3, and there's the disinformation campaign hitting
a land. It looks like
a land out of Ashlyn, and Josh considering?
With a lot of evasion, yeah, Josh considering a pretty clean attack here, as he does have enough blockers on defense, and I think the beetle is only a 1/1. That counter went to the fine broker, if I remember correctly.
Yep, that's absolutely correct. And there's attack for 3. Ashlyn down to 8.
Also leaving the sprite back.
Just a land off the top for Ashlyn, unfortunately.
Oh, looks like she's counting up some mana here.
Excuse me, maybe it's not.
Cranking for 4, it looks like. 2, it looks like. Is that a... Oh, is that one of the... That's one of the uncommon split cards, or one green, 1 black, I think. Well, she didn't mill 3, so it's not the 3/1. I wonder if that's a guild mage?
Right, that I believe is the Golgari Guild Mage.
I think the guild mage can gain 2 life.
Yeah.
And you can also give your creatures menace for 6, I think.
And that would be big time against the 3 life of Josh Lee Kwai.
I don't believe that's the card though, because I don't think Josh would have made that attack if that was the case.
Right. So in goes the Swarm Guild Mage, yeah. And in goes the Nightveil Sprite and the Watcher in the Mist. And here comes back Disinformation Campaign.
Yeah. Full speed ahead for Josh Lee Kwai.
Yeah, that's Surveil, recurring Surveil from the Sprite, big time. And there is...
oh, it's -1/-1. Yeah.
Another Surveil, another Disinformation Campaign trigger.
Shrivel with Surveil too. And Josh keeps both cards on top. It must be pure gas.
Right. A handful of cards, 4 cards for Josh, none for Ashlyn. Ashlyn living off the top of the deck.
Ashlyn has some, you know the thing, Ashlyn has some really powerful top decks. She can certainly draw, I mean, she's drawn a good, like, some solid cards here, but, you know, a little bit of air, honestly. And she has some powerful cards in her deck that can really get her back into this. You've got to remember that Troll brought Josh all the way down to 3. So if she's able to find a large creature that dominates the board, Vigor Spore Worm, something like that, there's a good chance that she can go ahead and come back in.
Yeah,
but
of course, Josh with 7 power of flying damage on the board. Ashlyn would need to find another spider or something like that. She's going to pack it up.
Yeah.
Josh Lee Kwai is going to take game 1 of this round 2 of our draft portion of the Chalice.
It looks like both players are resolving mulligans. I think Josh Lee Kwai did drop to 6 cards.
There is an Izzet Guildgate from Josh. Great start for him.
Interesting. He is on the play. Ashlyn, I believe, chose to draw. An interesting position to be in, but I think Ashlyn values the additional card.
There's that Nightveil Sprite once again. Big-time engine for Josh, and Ashlyn's going to – the best play for Ashlyn's going to be a Deadwaiter, something like that. And there's the Dvorkin.
Yeah. It's I believe it's a bear, and he can pump for 5, I believe.
Yeah.
And a swing in with the Sprite. And I think Josh Lee Kwai is thinking about – they're just talking about the card that just resolved. The Sprite's going to go ahead and Surveil 1. Josh is going to keep the card on top. Top deck for Ashlyn. She's going to go up to 3 mana, it looks like. And I think this is a critical turn for her.
Yeah. We could have a generous Stray play.
Attack
swing
for 2. And Ashlyn deploying now. That's the Generous Stray.
Generous Stray is going to draw her a card. And we'll take a look at Josh's turn. Dimir Spybug in hand. That could be deployed. Going to draw a card off of that Guildgate play.
And there's a Spybug.
Josh. Spybug in play. Nightveil Sprite swinging in. Spybug with a counter. And Surveil for Josh. He's thinking about this one.
That is the engine from Josh Lee Kwai. He found the combo, as one would say, and man, just absolutely the Spybug getting bigger every turn. That Surveil mechanic, the creatures with evasion, it's going to be tough for Ashlyn.
Right. Got the Surveil engine and a payoff spell, and that's the Dimir Spybug. Oath of the Gate, Josh, in full swing. And we'll take a look at Ashlyn. Next choice, going to swing in for 2 here. Josh down to 16.
Yeah, and it looks like Ashlyn's trying to figure out how to get her larger cards on the board right now. The Stray is a little undercosted. I think that's
Prey Upon from Ashlyn is going to take out that Dimir Spybug, and the payoff is down for Josh.
That was a huge play from Ashlyn, a huge draw. I mean, Prey Upon, one of the premier cards in her deck, and just a nice way to answer some of the evasion cards that Josh Lee Kwai is packing.
And a follow-up play from Ashlyn, and that's going to be the Swarm Guildmage, I believe.
I believe, yeah, from last game. Deploying another creature, and Josh is going to go ahead and right back
in.
Right
Surveil.
back on the attack.
And that's going to go to the graveyard. That's a land. Looks like another Guild Gate in play is going to let him surveil again. Excuse me, draw a card again. A lot of value off of these Guild Gates already.
Yeah.
And there is, I believe, the 1 blue mana, 2/2. If you surveil, you can swing with it.
Yeah, yeah. If it gets 3+1/+1 counters on it,
yeah.
I mean, it's a very good card on defense because it's so cheap early on, and all of the surveil mechanics that Josh Lee Kwai plays now will grow this card and allow him to block Ashland's board. So
drawing another payoff spell for that surveil engine in Nightveil Sprite, and that's really creating a lot of value for Josh.
I think, yeah, again, Ashland's found some of her smaller creatures. We're going to have to see if she can get to the meat of her deck. As she has access to, all the colors in her deck, and she has access to 5 lands, which is how many she had last game. So
let's see what Ashland's play is here.
Certainly the pressure is mounting as the engine begins to churn. Tapping
Ashland
3.
Deploying. Creature to the board, passing it back to Josh, and Josh is going to take a draw to Guild Gate.
Yeah. Not trying to answer a lot of these flyers on Josh Lee Kwai's side is proving to be a problem for Ashland. That one Prey Upon that she had access to early, you can't say you're going to have access to that card a lot.
Nightveil Sprite in. +1/+1 counter down, and surveil happening, and that's going to go to the graveyard.
Yeah, it's one of the, I think that's the Death Touch card. That when you surveil, you can also draw a card when it connects.
Yes, absolutely.
But it's difficult to go ahead and see if that card's going to be strong on this board state because Ashland's doing such a good job fighting for the board.
There's a quasi-duplicate.
Wow, and another copy of this the payoff surveil card here. And we're just going up the ladder right now. Josh Lee Kwai growing the army, growing the ranks.
Big time surveil action, and
Island's going to the bin.
Get to draw a card with that Guild Gate deployed. Back to Ashland. Ashland against the ropes here.
I think so. It looks like Josh his engine is too strong. I mean, the amount of value he's been generating over the course of the match is pretty insane.
Double block from Josh, big time block. And how do you like what's coming up next for Ashland and Josh here? What are they looking for?
Yeah, I think Ashland's going to have to figure out how to deploy a lot of her larger creatures, her larger threats. Right now, Josh willing to go ahead and trade off 2 of his payoff cards here. Ashland tapping for 5, and we'll have to go ahead and see. Oh, it looks like she just went ahead and passed back there. Josh Lee Kwai on the top deck. Attack with the Nightveil Sprite. He's going to go ahead and surveil. And I think that surveil mechanic, I mean, Nightveil Sprite is so nice because it allows you to filter Josh's draws and make sure he's able to go ahead and stay with a lot of positive and solid cards coming off the top of his deck. You can really see that Josh's cards that he's drawn are a lot more premium because he's able to filter through a lot of those additional lands, those cards that are not as valuable in this matchup. Just going ahead and deploying another land, drawing a card here. Oh, wow.
Josh with the Sphinx play. Big time play for Josh.
It's the 5/4 with Surveil 2. An immensely powerful card on this board. I mean, it's got evasion. It's the biggest creature in play. Ashland deploying a gate here and considering options. More lands in hand for Ashland, so.
Izoni also in hand in the back there. Izoni, not a lot of insects available. Let's take a look what Ashland has available. I believe there's only 2 creatures, and there's the Death Touch in play.
The Gorgon that hits the battlefield, and just a good card to go ahead and help her defend. But remember, a lot of Josh's threats on board are creatures with flying. So the Gorgon not going to really help out too much in defending against those flying creatures.
Right, absolutely. And that City Watch Sphinx really threatening the board for Ashland.
Yeah.
Big time threat, a 5/4 flyer.
And when it dies, it surveils too. It's a powerful card. It's an uncommon. It's certainly one of the more powerful cards that Josh has access to.
Quasi-duplicate on the 5/4 flyer. City Watch Sphinx making another copy of that, discarding a useless swamp to Josh, and Josh's board is becoming oppressive.
Yeah, it's Josh really bringing the Air Force, and Ashland having a tough time dealing with it, unfortunately. it's a tough spot to be in, especially when you're playing the green deck. You don't have a lot of access to flyers and flying creatures. So Josh Lee Kwai firmly in the driver's seat. Ashlyn going to go ahead and activate end of turn.
And that creature on the top of your screen is actually an Okran Assassin, the 1/1 Death Touch. All creatures able to block Okran Assassin do so.
Yeah, so a pseudo piece of removal here. Okran Assassin, of course, going to be able to take down that token from Josh Lee Kwai. But Josh, with the larger board and the creatures with evasion, it looks scary. It looks tough.
That Pitiless Gorgon not doing much for Ashlyn. And here comes the Locket. And maybe Ashlyn can draw into something that she's looking for here. Ashlyn considering her options. Izoni, Thousand Eyes in hand. Unfortunately, only a pair of creatures in her graveyard that prey upon is that first card. And there goes the Gorgon in for 2. Josh Lee just casually taking 2.
But yeah, the payoff for Izoni, not quite enough. Not quite the value that Ashlyn really wants here.
Right.
And untapping from Josh Lee Kwai with all those flyers, it's a little difficult to see how Ashlyn can pull this one out.
I think maybe just deploying the Izoni to start getting a card drawing going to try to find an answer to these City Watch Sphinx could be a big-time play. And here comes all the flyers in. That's 11. Ashlyn, no answer for this. Going to be down to 2. There's a Surveil from Josh off that Night Veil Sprite.
Josh Lee Kwai tapping 4, it looks like. He's going to go ahead and deploy.
Watcher in the Mist, big time flyer. Josh's deck looks unstoppable at this point. I don't blame Ashlyn for not being able to put up a fight against this.
Yeah,
look at this deck.
Just so many creatures with evasion, and Josh Lee Kwai really has a good way to go ahead and dig them out. He's got the Sprite, which gives him card quality advantage, which is a key advantage in these matchups in Limited. Being able to draw the most relevant cards in your deck and put them into your hand, it's fantastic.
Surveil, I really enjoy Surveil as a mechanic, and I've been enjoying it in Guilds of Ravnica.
Yeah, it feels a lot like Scry, except you have a lot more cards that are relevant in your graveyard. So even though when you scry cards to your graveyard, also, if it has a jumpstart effect or if it's a Golgari card that uses the graveyard, it's a powerful effect.
Ashlyn, considering her option, it might be a pop the locket situation. Oh, it's a Crawl Harpooner in hand. There goes Pitiless Gorgon in for 2. And that Crawl Harpooner has that Undergrowth. There's 2 in her graveyard. She'll be able to fight and maybe take down one of these City Watch Sphinx.
Yeah, Crawl Harpooner, a really nice card for the Golgari deck as it allows the green deck to answer creatures with flying. It's very powerful, and it goes ahead and utilizes that fight mechanic that green desperately needs so badly.
Yeah, so that is going to be City Watch Sphinx down, we believe, and it's going to be the copy, actually, that Ashlyn's going to take out. And there goes the Surveil 2. That's the dying trigger from the City Watch Sphinx. Josh keeping both on top. I believe that's a fight, so I believe the Crawl Harpooner should be gone. We'll get that fixed. Our judge is standing by and
fight that creature, I believe.
Yep. Just a moment here.
I just wanted to double check that card wasn't. I mean, if it just dealt damage equal to its power to a flying creature, that would be pretty insane. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get that board state updated for you guys.
And here comes Josh, and wow, there's a. Okay, so we're gonna get this fixed, and that way we don't have to.
Was that a Price of Fame? No, it wasn't. Price of Fame is. Oh, sorry, it's back up.
Oh, that's the Deadly Visit.
Yeah.
In hand. Okay, so now Josh not going to play that Deadly Visit, and there's a swing and a handshake. Josh Lee Kwai going to take game 2 and round 2, the 2-0. Josh Lee Kwai over the now 1-1 Ashlyn Rose. Oath of the Gate, Josh. Getting it done.
Kwai, advancing to the finals.
Raising money for Big Brother's Big.
Sure, I'll wing it.
Hi, everyone. Sam Tang here on the floor with Josh Lee Kwai. Josh, how's it going?
It's going great. It's a ton of fun, and this is a sweet event, and I'm so excited to be here privileged. Thanks to Card Kingdom for putting this on, and it's been fun so far.
And if you're just tuning in right now, this is the Chalice charity tournament put on by Card Kingdom to raise money for Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Puget Sound. And we are right now just finished up, what, round 2 of our Guilds of Ravnica draft?
That's right, round 2, and I'm 2-0.
Wow.
And I'm about to face off against the Jerry Thompson.
My goodness.
He's only like a Pro Tour champion and stuff. I'm pretty sure I could take him. No problem.
What did you build for your draft deck?
I have a sweet Dimir deck, and it's also a Guild Summit deck, which means I have a lot of gates and a lot of card advantage. So my one real hope is that Jerry's deck is not fast. Because if it's slow, I think I can win.
Okay.
I mean, he's Jerry Thompson. He could probably beat me with like any pile of cards, like randomly. But, you know, you never know. Anybody can get mana flooded. That can happen to anybody. So I have a chance.
So you're just expecting him to draw horribly.
Yes, that's my strategy. Jerry draws all lands.
That's very funny. Well, viewers, thank you so much for being here with us right now. Josh Lee Kwai is a pillar of the Magic the Gathering community, and we're very grateful to have him here to help raise money for Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Puget Sound. They specialize in helping mentor kids, matching kids with adults, professionals who are able to give them mentorship. And there are 800 children on that wait list, and we hope to raise money to take them off that wait list. Every $450 takes a child off of that wait list, so all the money goes to training adults. And this training is 4 to 5 months. It is an extensive training to teach people how to communicate, how to connect with kids, and also the mentorship experience with that child lasts for at least 5 years, and hopefully of a lifetime. So it really makes a huge impact. And you know, Josh, you know all about community building. You know all about mentorship and how important it is for children.
Yeah, this is a really great cause, and you know what's better to give to than something that's helping out children, right? Like, this is really something that you can get behind, that you can easily feel really good about giving money to. And I think people think that programs like this are very simple. You just find an adult and you pair them with a kid, and no, because the adult has to know the best way to help out the child. And that's really what we're doing, is we're helping it so that it can be as impactful as possible when they are mentoring somebody, and that's really important.
And viewers, if you are looking at the chat right now, there's a link, thechalice.cosvox.com, and you can donate there. And all the money goes to helping train mentors, so take kids off of this wait list. And what's amazing is that the money that is being raised goes to not only taking the kids off of the wait list, but also making sure that more mentors are coming into this program. There's always going to be children that get onto the wait list. There's always going to be a need for this. And we're making an impact in children's lives. We're transforming them. We're giving them guidance. We're giving them hope. We're really allowing them to think about what their future is. And that future impacts society and makes a wonderful benefit to families and children all around. And again, you can donate at thechalice.cosvox.com, and all proceeds goes to Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Puget Sound.
It's a great cause. I don't think you can find a better thing to donate to anytime you're helping out kids. It's really the best. Also, while you're there, just root for me a little bit in this finals round, because I could take down a Pro Tour champion, which means I would basically then be a Pro Tour champion. I'm pretty sure that's how that works.
It's definitely how it works. I love it. I love it. Okay, so we're going to do a third round of Guilds of Ravnica draft competition, and then we're going to be going into some of our other formats. Any thoughts about those as we're about to sign off?
Well, the battle decks all look really cool. I'm hoping I get a good one. I'm not sure. I haven't played all of them before, so I don't know. Actually, what I'm really hoping is I'm just going into that event 3-0.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And then also Block Party. We're very excited to see what you've brewed up with your blocks.
I'm excited about my deck. It's pretty cool.
Okay. I love it. Oh, and we have a little bit.
I'm going to have to go beat Jerry Thompson now. I'm pretty sure that's what they're saying.
All right. And we're going to be sending it back to you. Thank you so much.
Jerry Thompson on your left. Josh Lee Kwai on your right. Boros aggro splashing that blue secret tech.
Yes, sir.
Ral, the Planeswalker. And here's Josh. There goes a 7, most common number between 2 dice, and
a 5 and a. I would assume that Jerry won the roll with a 5 result, but
no, it's going to be Josh there.
I see.
Josh
must have been a 1.
And Josh taking a look at his opening 7, got a Gateway Plaza right in the window there.
Yeah.
Excellent start for him, and it looks like he's keeping. Jerry also keeping, and our competitors waiting for the go-ahead that we're good to go.
I will say we did pull up a list of Jerry Thompson's accolades, and it actually went off the screen. It's pretty remarkable. I mean, he's an old school player. He's been around for a long time, originally with the Star City crew, but he's an awesome guy and a fantastic presence in the Magic community.
Absolutely, and he believes so strongly in the idea of mentorship and
oh, yeah.
big brothers, big sisters. TheChalice.causevox.com. Log on now and check out a great selection of thank you gifts, including a pin, a playmat limited to 100, and so on. And our players are just waiting for the go-ahead here to get going and get this, our third round of draft underway. This is our third and final round of draft, folks, but we have plenty more Magic to bring you after this. We are going to come right back at you after lunch with 3 rounds of battle decks. That should be a great experience. Josh Lee Kwai, again, on your right. These are our 2-0 competitors. And as you mentioned, Jerry's got some big-time wins.
My goodness. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, he's got how many GP top 8s, you know, a Pro Tour win. It almost seems, I mean, there's just so many accolades here. I mean, it looks like he's going to be a pretty solid fit for a potential
Hall of Fame induction.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. You know, and playing against Jerry, he's a pretty unassuming guy. But when you're sitting down to play, you're just sitting down going, I know I'm up against Jerry Thompson, and you get a little nervous, you know. He's got a pedigree. He's got, you know, his reputation certainly precedes him. So it's going to be on Josh. And Josh has got a sweet deck. He's got a lot of good uncommons. He's got a lot of good synergies. So we're going to have to go ahead and see. I think we're trying to flag down a judge to go ahead and tell him to start. Why don't I go ahead and maybe motion to them and tell them we can get going.
Okay, let's take a look here. Again, Josh Lee Kwai's deck, for those of you who haven't seen, has a Dimir deck built around a lot of synergies with Surveil. Excellent deck. And we saw that Disinformation Campaign, Dimir Spybug, take control as payoff spells. And here comes Josh Lee Kwai with an Is It Guildgate turn 1. Excellent turn 1 play. And there's a mirror match. Is It Guildgate from Jerry Thompson on turn 1. Wait a second. Where's this blue coming from Jerry?
I think Josh Lee Kwai just played a foil Guildgate.
Oh.
So, I mean, I would
Gateway
say
Plaza for Josh in this follow-up. And there's a Plains, and there is Creature Deployed for Jerry T.
Yeah, I believe it's the 2-1, and you can tap 2 to give it flying on the attack.
Yes, I believe you're right. And there's a Dimir Spybug from Josh Lee Kwai. Big-time follow-up, and another Guildgate. Josh has all of his colors available to him. Swing in for 2. Excuse me. There is that 2-1 that you can give fly. Back to Josh, and here comes the Dimir Spybug.
Josh having access to all the colors of his mana. I mean, he's got some of the best fixing I've seen. So many gates.
That first card is a 10th District Guard, the 2/2.
Ah, yes.
When it enters the battlefield, target creature gets +0/+1. There is a Ral in Jerry's deck, and I believe it's in his hand, so we'll take a look here.
Josh Lee Kwai doing a good job of stonewalling Jerry right there.
Yeah, and that big-time 2/2 Death Touch.
I believe it's actually a 2/3. So just outclassing very slightly Jerry Thompson's creatures.
You're absolutely right, and it's at 2/3 with the Ophidian
Darkblade Agent,
as long as you've surveilled this turn.
Yes, sir. And he can also give that card Death Touch as well when he surveils. So
right,
it's really good versus the green decks on top of that.
And there is the Dimir Spybug in.
Disinformation Campaign got deployed on this turn by Josh Lee Kwai. Is that Justice Strike, I want to say?
That is a Justice Strike, and that Dimir Spybug, the big payoff for Surveil is down. It's got a mini payoff in that Darkblade Agent.
Yeah.
And here's Jerry. Back to Jerry.
10th
District Guard is kind of just a bear.
Yeah.
But it seems like maybe he needed it for his curve.
Yeah, it's a fairly uninteresting card, and I believe this is a Luminous Bonds getting deployed by Jerry.
Luminous Bonds, big-time play for Jerry. Going to open up an avenue and then swings for 4 is Jerry Thompson. Josh Lee Kwai with a Guildgate down to 14.
We saw
Here comes a follow-up.
Yeah.
Darkblade Agent.
We saw Josh was able to get going in later turns in his previous match, and we saw how powerful a lot of his cards were at the top end. So I think as long as Josh escapes the early game relatively unscathed, he's going to be a favorite to go ahead and take this one down.
Absolutely. And there is a Fearless Halberdier Just a 3-2 for 3 out of Jerry. Looks like he needed to play a lot of these vanilla creatures to round out his curve there.
It looks like he was fighting CVM for a lot of the cards. Both these players were sitting right next to one another and potentially drafting the same
deck.
Yeah.
Wow, here's a Darkblade agent. Excuse me. There is the removal out of Josh Lee Kwai, and that 2-1 is going to go down.
Yeah, potentially clearing the way for Josh. I believe he did. Yeah, he surveilled, and I think he's going to go ahead and attack in when he gets an opportunity to do so. Disinformation campaign getting deployed for Josh. The engine just really taxing Jerry's hand and giving Josh additional cards.
Right now, at this point, Jerry's discarded cards that he could actually play. That Wojak Halberdier, I believe, is that card that he just discarded. And here we go. That Ral, he just needs one more land to unlock the Ral in his hand. Big time play for Jerry, but no land, no 5th land drop.
When powerful players get powerful cards, a lot of times it can seem relatively unfair. You're just thinking, man, why couldn't I open that Ral? But, you know, Jerry certainly knows all the modes on that card and knows how to use them correctly. He's going to go ahead and attack and trade off here.
There's that trade from Josh, and he's going to take it. I believe, thinking that this disinformation campaign is going to take over.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that's nice about Ral when it comes into play and when you activate it every turn, you just get to tick it up for advantage. So it's one of those things where I think Jerry could go ahead and stay.
Yeah, and there's a Watcher in the mist from Josh Lee Kwai. Big time play. Surveil to bring that disinformation campaign back to his hand.
Yeah.
Josh considering his Surveil now. Wow. Big time swing here in momentum.
Josh's deck is just firing on all cylinders.
And another non-lane for Jerry.
He has the top end. He has, I mean, his deck just looks so good. And because all of the other Boros players were fighting for those Boros cards, you know, he's got a little bit more punch. He's got all the good uncommons in his deck.
Right, absolutely. And here comes another 10th District Guard. Gonna pump up that District Guard.
There's a lot of. It looks like there's a lot of bears and
Jerry's representing a combat trick here.
Yeah,
and it could be perhaps a Sure Strike.
Yeah.
And it looks like
Sure Strike is the card that Jerry is representing here with those 2 open mana.
Right, absolutely. And Josh is gonna decline the block and take the 2, valuing his Watcher in the Mist. Of course, he has got Quasi Duplicate in his deck. You might want to duplicate that Watcher. Here comes disinformation campaign.
It's going again. If Jerry has, I mean, Jerry's running out of strong cards in hand. Josh is able to just dominate and control the board. But I know, one of those things.
Planes off the top for Jerry.
Okay, that is a huge draw. I wonder if Jerry attacks first and then plays, because he was representing that strike last turn. He's going to go ahead and play a Drake. You know what? I think he's looking at Josh. He's singing 3 mana up. Maybe Josh has a counter.
Sure.
So he's trying to bait the counter.
Absolutely.
I mean, the issue with the Drake is that it actually just has, I mean, your opponent's creature is a 3/4. Mm-hmm. So you're just.
Well, yeah, so with that Hellkite Whelp, of course, when he swings, he can deal the 1, and he can offer a trade with the Hellkite Whelp on a swing only, but not a great. Oh, and there's a. Excuse me.
Chemist's Insight.
Chemist's Insight, draw 2 for 4, and it's got that jump start.
Josh is gassing up, and he's got so many cards in hand. Land for Josh. He has access to essentially whatever he wants here. I'm interested to see what his next play is going to be.
What does Jerry need here to get going, to swing this battle in his favor?
Oh, Quasi-Duplicate.
And there's the Quasi-Duplicate on the Watcher in the Mist. And Jerry's going to pack it up.
Oh, my goodness. Even with Ral in hand.
He could see the writing on the wall.
Even with Ral in hand.
Yeah. That Quasi-Duplicate was going to trigger another disinformation campaign.
Yeah.
Bump up that thought-bound Phantasm, and just put the game out of reach for Jerry. So Jerry's going to pack it up. Josh Lee Kwai takes game 1. And let's bring it back to the booth here. There's an Gate from Jerry Thompson, and this is our game 2.
Yes. Of this round 3, it looks like Jerry's going to go ahead and kick it off with a couple of lands. He's got access to all of his mana already. Fantastic start for Jerry. Josh going to go ahead and deploy. I think it's a spy bug. It is.
There is the spy bug. There's that 10th District Guard, and Josh already has the payoff spell. on the board, and Jerry's thinking about it. Got a hypothesis in hand, I believe. Or excuse me, is that
a Sonic Wave?
Sonic, yeah.
It looks like he's going to go ahead and deploy more cards to the board.
Yeah,
Jerry.
That 2-1.
Yeah,
gonna hit the board.
You know what I was going to say about that last round, the end of that last round? You saw Jerry went ahead and scooped it up when he realized that he couldn't get there. It was interesting because he didn't show the RAL. He hit it. That's huge. If I'm Josh and I'm thinking, okay, we're going to grind it out. We're in top deck mode.
Right.
Jerry.
Why is that blue? Right.
Yeah. What's the blue
Question.
for? What's going on?
What's
I want to know.
Yeah, absolutely. And here comes that Duskblade agent in play again. We're going to swing for 4 from Jerry. Is Josh going to take
Josh
the
thinking about a block, and
there it is, sure strike.
Jerry faked it last time.
Yep.
Has it this time.
Duskblade agent down, and that's
they
one of the
call that
many payoff spells for surveilling from Josh Lee Kwai.
They call that balancing the range. And Jerry he's got the board position right now. He's in the driver's seat.
Josh Lee Kwai deployed an Izzet Guildgate, and Jerry notably missed his 4th land drop. There's a quasi-duplicate, another Dimir Spybug hitting the board, and the Dimir Spybug in for 1.
But the thing is, the Spybugs, I mean, they're so frail by themselves. Josh is going to need to get going on this surveil mechanic really quick.
Yeah, there's a Luminous Bond drawn for Jerry, one of the premier removal spells in the whole format.
Absolutely.
Not great against the likes of Aurelia Warleader, but just about every other creature, it does work against.
I've learned that the hard way in current standard. Vigilance is actually kind of an issue, but Jerry, it looks like he's going to have access. He can play a lot of the cards he wants to cast here, and that's a Justice Strike getting cast there, and an attack.
And there goes that quasi-duplicated token. Josh Lee Kwai untapping, down to 14.
I mean, the beats are coming in from Jerry relatively quickly.
That Sure Strike was a huge tempo swing.
A massive tempo swing.
And that's what Jerry needs. He needs to curve out here. With this deck, and that Sonic Jumpstart card. Big time card to put the finishing touches on your opponent.
See a couple surveils here. Discard draw 2, I believe. Spybug going to 3/3, which is actually very important on this board, but we know that Jerry has that Luminous Bonds in hand.
Right.
So Josh is investing a lot of resources into this Spybug, but we know that Jerry can potentially swing through on his turn.
Excellent opportunity for Jerry that he set up here, being patient with those Luminous Bonds.
Yeah.
Letting Josh invest some resources in the 1 Dimir Spybug before quasi-duplicate jump-starting.
I almost, it's interesting because Jerry went ahead, and normally people would say that Justice Strike is a more valuable card. It's a spell. But Bonds here is actually great because Justice Strike potentially doesn't kill the 3/4s from Josh Lee Kwai.
Sure, yeah.
Whereas,
yeah, there goes the Luminous Bond, and another swing for 4 from Jerry. Josh is going to be
Jerry's really bringing the clock.
Yeah. Going to need to stabilize somehow.
But again, Josh has reached that critical 5 mana count. And so a lot of the creatures over the top that Josh has access to are just so powerful.
Sure, Deadly Visit from Josh is going to take out a 2/1.
Yeah, that's half the power. I mean, we think of a 2/1 or a Grizzly Bear as not that impactful, but in this board state, this is a big deal.
Right, with Jerry stuck on land. Again, getting stuck on land.
It's part of the game, and it's what makes this game so difficult and so complicated.
Right. Anyone can beat a Pro Tour champion, huh?
Yeah.
And another non-land, but that's at least a creature for Jerry to play.
Jerry deploying more creatures to the board and potentially fighting over what's in play. Now, remember, Josh doesn't have access to any creatures in play. I mean, he has that Spybug, but it doesn't really count because it can't block very well.
Right, and that Blade Instructor does have Mentor.
Ooh.
Wow.
-1/-1 effect from Josh Lee Kwai, taking care of that Blade Instructor. Jerry reaches over and just ticks up the Spybug.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it could matter if there's a way for him to get rid of that Luminous Bonds, although I don't think that really exists too much in a Grixis-style deck.
And Jerry in for 2 again.
He
and
finds the
plays
4th
Guild
land.
4th land.
Yeah.
Big time draw for Jerry.
Important. Josh untapping 7 lands now.
Not even sure what Josh is holding on to.
Yeah, he's dropping low. I mean, he's got to figure out how to fight for the board here. I think he's got another Spybug.
Oh, big time draw for Josh. The Sentinel hits the board, and it's going to tick up with that second Dimir Spy Bug.
Oh, my goodness, and a tap down effect, end of turn. And I like this play from Jerry because he's going to untap and tap it again. Wow.
Play it again?
Absolutely.
And Jerry Thompson deals 4 out of nowhere with the Sonic card and going to jumpstart that, swing for 2, so that's 6 total damage out of nowhere from Jerry, even taking out the chance to block.
Yeah, that was a fantastic line from Jerry. He knew how much damage he had in back. He saved all of his resources until it mattered the most, and he pushed just at the right moment.
What a big-time win from Jerry, only deploying 3 total creatures, but taking Josh down. Let's bring it back to the booth. Big time, that Sonic Assault.
Oh,
wow.
My gosh, and he lined up that play specifically so he'd have 3 mana, end of turn, untap, have 3 mana on his main phase. Awesome.
Let's hit this game. We entered with an Is It Guildgate mirror match again. Josh Lee Kwai with that Is It Guildgate, and there goes that Thoughtbound Phantasm and another Guildgate deployed.
Josh Lee Kwai looks like he's got quite a strong start. He's got access to all colors of his mana. He's got one of his big-time payoff cards in play. Jerry Thompson. We saw him with a little bit of a mana problem last round, but he was able to just barely get in there, barely get there.
And let's see, Jerry with 2 lands, but passing the turn.
Yeah.
And here comes Josh, and that is another one of his payoff spells. Lets him draw a card when he plays a Guildgate.
Yeah, a fantastic card for Josh in this spot. It's really nice, though, because Josh is going to go ahead and kind of power up and build up on his defense. I think that's a Justice strike. He just went ahead and brought some Justice down.
That Thoughtbound Phantasm down, and there is a Mentor, 3-1.
Yeah, I think it's that Sure Blade or True Blade Mentor. It's the 3-1 with Mentor. It's a fantastic card.
And we'll get our life totals updated for you right now. There's a Night Veil Sprite hitting the board for Josh, one of his big-time engines for Surveil. Again, folks, this is Game 3 of Round 3. This is a chance for one of these competitors to go 3-0 in our Chalice event.
And if you're Josh and you're going up against Jerry, we talked about the pedigree that Jerry T has, all the events that he's done. I mean, this is a way to take him down, to really get at him. And this is a fantastic match. We're seeing Jerry with 4 mana.
And there is the Patrol, the 2-3 with Mentor, and that's going to be able to get buffed up by that 3-1 Blade Instrument.
Yeah, and it's got Flying, it's got Vigil. It's a powerful card in this spot.
Parhelion Patrol for Jerry, and it looks like a pass back, and there goes a Gateway Plaza, going to enable Josh to draw a card.
In the previous match, we saw how Josh Lee Kwai's creatures were going unanswered in the air. In this position, though, you really see Jerry. He's able to fight for that air control, air superiority, as I'd like to say.
Absolutely. Jerry not putting any pressure on the life total yet, but building a board that could be really explosive.
I mean, if you get a couple of Mentor triggers off, that would be a fantastic position to be in. We see Jerry going to go ahead and offer up the trade.
There's that swing and the Mentor trigger. The Parhelion Patrol is going to be up to a 3-4.
Yeah.
And there's a trade that Dustblade Agent in, but there's a sure strike out of
goodness.
Jerry Thompson.
Jerry, that was an insane card for Jerry to have right in that spot. We've seen him have it twice and not have it once, and every time he got the positive result he was going for.
Big time play from Jerry Thompson. That sure strike taking out the Dustblade Agent of Josh Lee Kwai. We're back to Josh Lee Kwai, and he really needs to stabilize at this point.
Yeah, he's on the back foot, and Jerry just really mowing it down. I mean, he's got so much power and so much momentum, and this is one of the things we're talking about, how the Dimir deck takes a little while to get going, but if he can get the advantage, if he can get a big threat down to kind of stop the attack from Jerry.
There's a Deadly Visit out of Josh Lee Kwai. Surveilled. He's going to be able to surveil. He's going to take out of that Parhelion Patrol.
A huge answer for Josh. And, Jerry's it looks like his last couple plays haven't been as impactful as he'd like them to be. Josh might be able to take over this game if he has a couple of big draws.
If you are just tuning in, we are watching Game 3 of Round 3, our final round of action in our draft portion. We've got plenty more Magic coming at you.
Absolutely.
And Jerry Thompson is squaring off against Josh Lee Kwai, and Jerry just lost that Parhelion Patrol to the Deadly Visit of Josh Lee Kwai. Let's see what Jerry's follow-up is here.
He's got access to 5 mana. Obviously, in this spot, he would love to be windmill slamming a Ral. That would be a fantastic card to have here, but unfortunately, it looks like Jerry deliberating. He's got all that experience, all that pedigree. He's got another 2 lands in hand, potentially. Oh, my goodness.
Missing out on lands in games 1 and 2, and this time getting flooded.
Yeah.
And here comes a big-time play from Josh. It's going to be that City Watch Sphinx.
Oh, my goodness. And this is what I was talking about in terms of having large bombs. I mean, Josh Lee Kwai going ahead and take care of the air. He's got air control. Oh.
There's a lava coil out of Jerry Thompson. Perfect answer. Gonna allow Josh to surveil, but missed the trigger. And here comes a follow-up round.
Actually, you know what? It's when it dies, lava coil gets exiled.
Yeah.
Absolutely you know what? That was a huge play. Wow, and Rao's on the table. Rao is on the table.
What a big-time momentum shift for Jerry. Rao has entered the battlefield.
Did you see that? I mean, that sequence right there, it was get Josh to tap out, lava coil, your big threat that you just tapped out for, 6 mana for 2 mana, Rao Zarek.
Absolutely.
Excuse me.
Big-time play from Jerry. How is Josh Lee Kwai going to recover? Let's see what his follow-up is. He's got this Guild Summon, so he has an opportunity to draw some cards and get some card advantage, but Jerry's going to have this. Rao is it just ticking?
He can keep the fuel coming. Josh can keep the fuel coming if he hits the right sequence of cards, but that Rao Zarek, I mean, again, powerful cards, powerful players. It's going to be tough. Oh, my goodness. And we just saw Rao exit the battlefield, and Josh going for a grip of cards.
Josh with, oh, wow.
That's that split card from Is It. And that's the, I mean, you know, if you're wondering why Josh is splashing red, well, here you go.
Right, absolutely. That's the, excuse me.
Yeah, excuse me, we're going to go ahead and pull that card up for you right now. Expansion.
Explosion, expansion.
Yeah.
Expansion, explosion.
Just.
And guess who got exploded?
Rao. Oops. Sorry, bud.
Expansion, explosion. Oh.
That's going to be that. Oh, it's the 1 damage to all creatures you can't block. Creatures that walk. I know what the card
and
effects
there goes
do.
That blade instructor as a result.
And Jerry, he's got a lot of lands now. And if you're a Boros deck and your big payoff card is that Rao, you saw him get additional advantage there, but Josh Lee Kwai gets that advantage right back.
Wow. Surveil, disinformation campaign, hitting the board again. Land down, and Jerry's got just a Sonic Assault in hand.
Not that great when your opponent's at 11. Not that great when your opponent's drawing extra cards. Josh Lee Kwai.
And that's a Barrier of Bones in play for Josh Lee Kwai. And there's a great draw for Jerry at least.
Yeah, a 4-mana creature. Not 100% certain on what that is, but I do know that Jerry would love to keep on swinging. And creatures off the top is nice.
That is the True Fire Captain, the uncommon for Boros. 4/3 with Mentor. Whenever it's dealt damage, it deals that much damage to target player.
That's I believe they call it heat in the kitchen. That's what they call that. That's a nice draw for Jerry.
Wow. And we thought this has been a roller coaster of a game.
It's back and forth, and it's anyone's game. Josh Lee Kwai.
Artful takedown from Josh.
So artful.
And tap a creature and give a creature -2, -4. There goes that True Fire Captain.
Jeez. Unbelievable.
Josh with big-time card advantage. Look at all those cards. Sonic Assault out of Jerry.
Pre-combat. And you're going to go ahead and deal 2 damage to Josh. But, as they say, hellbent the mechanic for Jerry T, and he is living off the top.
Indeed.
And if you're an aggro deck and you're living off the top, it can get tough. It can get rough.
Indeed, and that Whisper Agent might threaten lethal to Jerry over the long term, especially with this disinformation campaign rolling. And there goes Conclave of the Tribunal.
I liked how
Jerry
rolled that one off the top. He drew it face down, and he flipped it over and slammed. I like that.
That Whisper Agent now. Watcher.
Oh, my goodness.
Big-time draw from Josh. Surveil 2.
Bouncing back disinformation campaign, keeping the engine rolling.
If you are tuning in, you are watching our final game of this draft portion of the event, the Chalice charity event. Log on to thechalice.causevox.com to see all of our great giving levels for supporting Big Brothers Big Sisters and this event. If you love these players, if you love mentorship and what that means, log on and give now. There's the Watcher in the Mist, and there's a jump start from Sonic Assault. Josh Lee Kwai going to take 2 there, but Jerry going to take 3.
It's really interesting to see how some of these matchups are panning out, especially cards with that flashback mechanic.
And the Sentinel hitting the board for Josh.
Oh, my goodness.
And Josh is card advantage
It's
has
so
just taken
big.
over.
Yeah. He was able to stabilize until turns, 4, 5, 6, which was really, really important. He's got a lot of creatures with big toughness, able to come down and stop the aggression coming from Jerry.
Yeah, and there's that.
I think that's the
that
Hellkite.
coming down for Jerry. Hellkite Whelp. 5 mana, 3/3. When it attacks, you can deal 1 to target creature. Not going to be good enough here.
Oh, my goodness. And the march continues from Josh Lee Kwai.
Disinformation campaign. Josh is on a complete disinformation campaign.
He is climbing the ladder.
There is a massive swing.
And by ladder, I mean the card advantage ladder.
The card advantage ladder.
My
indeed.
goodness.
There's a massive swing for, I believe that's 13, and there's a deadly visit taking out this Hellkite Whelp, and Jerry's going to play it out no matter what. Off the top,
Oh.
Guild Gate. There's the handshake. Josh Lee Kwai is going to take Game 3 and Round 3 and be our only undefeated player in this, the Chalice charity event. Log on to thechalice.cosvox.com and check out our wonderful thank you gifts for donating and making it possible to bring mentorship to over 800 youth waiting on a wait list. That's why all of our competitors are here, and here is Kenji on your left, Michelle Rapp on your right, both leading off, and there's Michelle with quite a defensive stance here.
We see Kenji going ahead and start off. He's got that Grizzly Bear, that Shield Bear in play. He's got Vigilance, I believe. Kenji, of course, playing Selesnya, a deck that I've traditionally liked, but I know that Jerry T doesn't necessarily enjoy too much of. I think that this green-white deck is very stable and an awesome deck all the way around.
There's a Piston Fist Cyclops from Michelle, that 4/3.
Yeah.
If you cast an instant or sorcery, you can attack with it. Big-time play. It's a 3-mana 4/3, and that's going to prove to be... Oh, wow.
I think that's
That's that Rosemane Centaur.
Yeah.
The Rosemane Centaur convoked into play.
Turn 3. Yeah, turn 3.
Here's the thing. Do you want to know how many Rosemane Centaurs Kenji has in his deck?
I think I know. He's
got not one.
Not two.
He's got 3.
He's got
Centaurs
3
in his
copies.
decks.
3 copies of this card.
I don't think anyone else was drafting Selesnya cards as
and his deck looks great. I mean, he's got a lot of really playable and solid cards here.
And there's a trade there.
He's going to go ahead and gum up the board and just go wide, I believe. Watching Kenji construct his deck, it was pretty awesome.
Absolutely. There's the Fog Bank.
Going to go ahead and block. And I think Kenji might have another Rosemane. Absolutely.
Rosemane
he does.
Centaur follow-up. Big-time play. Look at that Vigilance doing work.
That was awesome, yeah. Kenji able to slip additional damage in with that Vigilance card and then go ahead and tap that to go ahead and cast that Rosemane Centaur.
Pumpy, tappy, and wee.
Yeah, man. Honestly, the Vigilance and Convoke mechanics both kind of lining up very well. The designers of this set, I mean, it's awesome to see that.
Yeah, I've really been enjoying Guilds of Ravnica.
This is a Conclave Centaur, I believe?
Conclave Centaur, it is.
That is
double green, double white.
One of the big-time...
Hypothesizzle from Michelle Rapp. Opportunity to take out one of these creatures.
4 damage. I believe she wants to discard a card. I will say that taking down that... Okay, not the Rosemane. What is... Oh, and a Giant... That's the Convoke Giant Growth.
Oh, my goodness.
That's
Tax
a big-time
favor.
play.
+3/+3. You're not taking out my Rosemane Centaur, says
Absolutely
Kenji.
not. And you know what's crazy is it looked like the coast was clear. Kenji had no mana up. Turns out, when every creature's an elf, you've got mana all the time.
That Pax... And I saw Kenji. That's his single copy of Pax Favor in his deck. That's right, folks. We are watching the Chalice charity event, thechalice.cosvox.com. Log on now, and please give. Your gift makes it possible to bring mentorship to kids all across the Puget Sound. We've got some fabulous thank you gifts for you. And furthermore, all of our competitors are donating their time to make this possible, to bring this charity event to you. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, please give your thanks by giving the gift of mentorship at thechalice.cosvox.com.
We're seeing Michelle Rapp go ahead and develop a board now, but the one thing I will say is that when Michelle is playing these creatures with evasion, their power and toughness is usually a little bit less than what Kenji's bringing to the table.
Right.
Kenji with, I mean, that's a swing for a lot.
Sure.
That is not a little. I believe that's for 12.
And there's a Selesnya Guildmage as well there. And Michelle with that 1/3 Drake and the Fog Bank and not much else going on.
Unfortunate. Yeah, it's. I know that Michelle has quite a few powerful cards in back, but Kenji's just flooding the board with lots of 4/4s. It's almost mono 4/4s and 2/2s.
Yeah, absolutely. And that Conclave Guildmage going to be able to. Rosemary Centaur getting taken out?
Yeah. I think it's a Lava Coil. And the Exile effect is actually really good. Kenji actually kind of pointing out that, hey, you might want to go ahead after this, after Conclave Centaur. Yeah.
So Conclave Centaur is going to get exiled. And when it dies, it would create 2/2/2s, but
that's right.
It's getting exiled. So
yeah.
Thank you.
That Death Trigger not going to go ahead and fire off.
Goblet Electromancer.
Okay, a fantastic card. A card that sees a lot of play across multiple different formats. The fact that he got reprinted in this set is pretty awesome. But, yeah, that card, I believe sometimes sees play in Modern even. So
yeah, absolutely. Back to Kenji. Iron Shell Beetle to play.
He's going to go ahead and figure out what he wants to pump up. I believe that might be the 2/4 Convoke, I think. She's going to go ahead and play Sonic Assault.
And she's going to take 2.
And an attack here. Yeah, that's the Convoke Vigilance.
That is the Sunhome Stalwart, I believe, actually. And that's going to mentor.
Oh, that card is incredible.
2/2 Vigilant. Yeah.
That card is only upside.
Fogbank and the 1/3 Drake going to get in the way. The 1/3 Drake is going to be just a chump blocker here. Michelle down to 9 and feeling the pressure.
Untaps and draws on a land off the top. Probably not what she was looking for in this position. We're going to go ahead and see what her play is and how she's going to react to this difficult board state that Kenji's presenting. I mean, Kenji is doing this with 4 lands in play. And he's played multiple cards that have, he's played a card that has convert mana cost 5. That's not even possible.
He played a Pax Favor for no land tap.
Yeah, that Bounty of the Hunt almost is what it would seem like.
Michelle with the play.
I think that's the Goblin. Oh, no, it's not. I thought it was like Goblin War Drums, but it's not.
That might be Maxima. Nope.
Not quite certain here. Michelle and Kenji's going to go ahead and just attack in.
There's a swing from Kenji.
Yeah.
Michelle down to 9.
Mentor trigger. Kenji thinking about trying to push for damage by putting that counter on the Iron Shell Beetle, but he likes to go with mentoring the Guild Mage. And I think that's wise, as the Guild Mage is a little bit valuable. It does have multiple effects and multiple abilities. And Michelle's going to go ahead and extend the hand.
Kenji's going to take, I believe this was our game